It's the main event of the weekend here at Croft Circuit, the Jaguar Club Enduro Championship Round 1, and it's the longest race of the season as well, at 150 minutes in length. The cars are coming up to the grid for this long race, and let's have a look at the order in which they're going to start. I'll give you the starting drivers as we go along as well. On pole position, it's the number 4 car. That's going to be started by Joel Oswick. Besides him is number 1, which is Scott Parkin, who's driving solo. The second row, number 90, is being started by Alan Henderson, and number 6 is the car that is going to be started by Dylan Brichter. Row 3 is the 25 car of Darren Ball, and then the 69 car of Andy Schultz. On the 4th row of the grid, number 78 being started by Matthew Stockford, and Ben Williams starts in number 82. Row 5, that's where you find the number 22 car being started by Luke Browse, and then it's the 8 car, Matthew Tidmarsh, going first in that one. Jonathan Packer going solo in number 51 on the inside of row 6, besides number 83, Chris Nyland starting the Civic. Row 7, that car shared 3 ways, Mike Sanford going first in the 197 car. Besides them, it's Paul Simerson in the number 55 BMW. On row 8 of the grid, Tom Collar goes first in their BMW, next to number 10, which is being started by Rob Fennick. On row 9 of the grid, that car actually has withdrawn. The number 46 car not going to be in the race, unfortunately, so it's alone on row number 9, the number 30 car going to be started by Neil Huggins. On row 10 of the grid, 43 will be started by Steve Cheetham, and 119 by Bobby Trundley. On the 11th row of the grid, 13 Matt Fazy sadly has withdrawn from the race. 195 that is there though, and that is going to be started by Ash Moore. Michael Downey is in number 76 on the inside of row 12, besides number 97, Dave Connell going first in that one. On the 13th row of the grid is number 66, that's Johnny Hayes, and next to them 171 with Senna Osman going first. On the next row of the grid, which is row 14, it's the 169 car of Matthew Simonite, and 62 is Lee Dendy Sadler. Row 15 has number 5, which is going to be started by Daniel Gibson, with Ivor Mares going in at 316. Peerless and Stenning have withdrawn. Kevin Clark will go from the pit lane after being disqualified from qualifying for a technical infringement. So Chris, we're looking ahead to a 150-minute race here with 2 mandatory 3-minute pit stops, and it's going to be a fascinating 2.5 hours, I think.
It certainly will. The battle for pole position was certainly very interesting between the JC Racing BMW of James Collins and Joel Oswick. Joel Oswick, of course, being a class champion a couple of years ago. Scott Parkin is the reigning overall champion in a brand new Audi TT from Darkside Developments, moving on from his Class B Golf car that he ran last year. And then, of course, you've got the very heavily modified Mark 1 Mazda MX-5 with its whopping great turbocharged 1800cc engine, and then the second of the Audi TTs, which is slightly less sophisticated than the one that Scott Parkin is driving, but his twin brother Ryan in there alongside Dylan Brichter. A variety of different TCR cars in the Class A battle, as well as a BMW GT4 car in the hands of Ferrari Challenge racer Paul Simerson as well. That's a little bit further down in the 14th position overall. And then, of course, the battles in Class B and Class C as well, which are always very fun to watch, and we get a great variety of different cars in these races that are generally 120 minutes, but this the longest of the season, as you mentioned, 150 minutes, and it's got 2 mandatory pit stops.
We do. Class B, Matthew Tidmarsh just took pole at the end, didn't he, away from Jonathan Packer, who's on pole for most of the session there. So the Geneta G40 out of the VW Golf, and in Class C, Samuel Dennis and Ash Moore in their Honda Civic Type R, getting the better of the Connell and Wilkinson Hughes Mazda and the Hayes and Subioni 318, which picked up some damage during the course of that qualifying session. Safety car leading them around. Of course, it's a rolling start for this race. The red lights are already on the starting gantry. The safety car is pulling in, and the cars are about to thunder into life here at Croft Circuit for the opening round of the 2024 Jaguar Club Enduro Championship. They're heading towards the line where the lights go out and the race gets underway, and they head off down to Clervaux Corner. We've got The car of Scott Parkin on the outside line, and Joel Oswick on the inside line, and then immediately it's Scott Parkin that sweeps around the outside at Clervaux Corner to take the lead of the race. There's the number 8 car, the Gulf Livery Ginetta of Tidmarsh, that started on pole position within Class B as well, so we'll watch out for the class battles as well during the course of this race, but it looks like they're all safely through the first couple of corners. Don't forget Kevin Clark has started from the pit lane in his M3 CSL after being found to be underweight after qualifying, so we'll watch him burn from the stern as the mid-pack heading down towards Tower Corner for the first time. And I think it's already a change for the lead in Class B, isn't it? It looks like Jonathan Packer a few cars ahead, possibly of the little Ginetta of Matthew Tidmarsh.
2 TCR cars side by side in the middle of the Jim Clark S's. That's very brave stuff. And yes, the VW Golf just behind them of Jonathan Packer. And he's got one of the Class A cars for close company as well. So he has put a little bit of distance, I think, between himself and his nearest class rival in the very early stages of this race. But what great straight line performance from the Audi TT of Scott Parkin. That sequential gearbox, I'm sure, helping him drag clear of the BMW on the way into Clervaux. But we'll see how that progresses throughout the race. So there's a thunderous noise coming past the commentary boxes. Wonderful variety of different machines fly by. Scott Parkin's advantage is 1.5 seconds over Joel Oswick, who is starting the number 4 JC Racing machine. Confirmation over the timing line, Jonathan Packer is the new Class B leader, but he is got close company in the form of the 83 of Christopher Nyland, who started his Honda Civic Type R. That's the Motion Motorsports run car, which is directly behind him in 11th position overall. And then our Class C leader, which is in 20th position overall, but only by 7/10 of a second, which is the number 195 of Ash Moore.
As we go on board with Scott Parkin as he turns his way through Barcroft now to Sunny, so it's a clear track ahead after that good start. 1.5 seconds in the lead at the end of the first lap. It's great to see this on-board footage courtesy of the Darkside development team. They do a lot of great productions of their own, using that sequential box down through the gears. It's a 2-litre TDI engine, various modifications on his car as well to try and steal a march over his twin for the Ryan, who's not on track at the moment. It's Dylan Brichter who started the car, that's running in 4th position. Number 6, that's Scott out of that very tight hairpin in the final corner, and he accelerates away, and he's continued to pull out more of a gap over Joel Oswick in 2nd place. What was 1.5 seconds is now 2.4.
I couldn't keep up with how fast that was. That was astonishing, and it was so effortless for him. Just one turn of the wheel and bang, it's gone straight in. The number 90 machine, it is the IMSA liveried Mazda MX-5 from AK Automotive, that's closing in on Joel Oswick for 2nd place overall. That is currently being driven by Alan Henderson. It is the car's 2nd season of racing, and hoping to have worked on the reliability of that car a little bit. It has got a podium finish to its name at Silverstone last year. And if it can continue to run at pace, then we know it's a very quick car. Running in 3rd at the moment and closing in on Oswick. Yeah,
we just saw a glimpse of Dylan Brichter there in 4th place as well. Just see him in the background there. Darren Borlett is in 5th, and a good scrap going on actually between Andy Schultz and was it Luke Browse, I think, who had started the Cupra TCR, the Stone Market class car. But look how close it is for 2nd and 3rd position. New car this season, a new team for Joel Oswick as well, sharing the driving with James Collins this season. But I think Joel looking to be the quicker of the two drivers at this stage. But fascinating to see, we've got 3 different types of car: the Audi TT, the BMW M3, and this much modified Mazda MX-5 Mark 1 in 3rd position. Another sort of similar car to the lead car, the Audi TT in 4th. And then we've got the first of the Coopers. There's a few of those on track. Darren Borlett is best of those at the moment in 5th position, and that type of car's had a lot of success in Club Enduro over recent seasons as well, in the hands of the likes of Carl Swift and Rob Baker in a few seasons ago.
Those are the 2 Speed Tech cars, the 55 and the 10, 2 BMWs at the head of this field that are contesting for 14th and 15th positions. The 55 is the M4 GT4 that used to belong to Century Motorsport, competed in British GT. That's Paul Simerson at the wheel, and then the number 10 being the M2, which is at the hand of Rob Fenwick. Fourth different car for him in as many years, but of course that is the combination that finished second in Class C yesterday with Andy Shepherd, and now stepping up to Class A.
Almost looks like those two sort of Class A cars are sort of holding up the 197 car, which is the Lotus Elise, started by Mike Sanford there. And you can see him sweeping through. He was a regular in the championship last season. He was up a few times at the 70th Motorsport Awards trying to pick up vessels, but he's going to lose out there to the BMW. That's Kevin Clark, isn't it? He's come through from the back of the grid, so he's made good progress up inside the top sort of 15 cars already. And the other car that's involved there is Steve Cheatham in the number 43 Porsche Boxer, the man from Manchester. He shared the box with Wayne Scofield this year, but look how Kevin Clark just picked his way through that sort of quintet of cars very quickly.
Yeah, Clark's made up 5 or 6 positions on this lap alone. Yeah. That's incredible speed that he's showing in the 33 machine. And Fenwick getting up the inside of Simerson there, so the M2 passing the M4. The M2 is carrying a little bit of cosmetic damage on the right hand side from Rob's first outing in the car at Donington a few weeks ago, which Andrew was quite keen to point out to me earlier. But yes, very much holding up that 197 by the looks of it, the Lotus.
Just looking at Kevin Clark's lap times, he does a 1:30.846. That time, only really the top 6 sort of bettering those kind of speeds. And bear in mind that Kevin Clark is picking his way through traffic for experienced driver. There's a number of categories, including the car champion and Euro cars, of course. Looking at a couple, or one of the Cupras there, and also the 78 car, which has been started by Matthew Stockford, I think, hasn't it? In the Audi RS3 LMS. Driver using hand controls in this car, I think, and he's sharing the car with his regular co-driver from Team Dynamics boss, Alan James. But he's just in behind that number 82 car, which is Ben Williams at the wheel of it at the moment, 41-year-old real estate investment manager from London. Only his second season of racing in this Capture Motorsport TCR car, which is sharing with Malachi Engar this year, sometime F1000 race.
Yeah, great mix. That sounds like the Audi RS3 and the Seat Leon TCRs as well. Again, just the wonderful diversity, and then the chasing pack is the top 3 in Class B, who are right together, and that is Jonathan Packer in his 51 Golf, very closely followed by the 83 Christopher Nyland Honda Civic, being run by the Motion Motorsport team, and then third position in that class is the number 8 car of Tidmarsh and Webster, and that's the Flying Tangerine Ginetta G40.
You see a few cars in the timing tablet, or on the live time if you're looking at that, showing the CC designation after the drivers' names, and that means Clubman Cup. That means they're eligible for the Clubman Cup award, which is for cars that were first manufactured before 2010 and also have a H-Patty gearbox as well. So that's a separate award in addition to the overall prize for drivers possibly racing cars on a bit more of a budget. There was one car slow there, one of the Ginettas, wasn't it?
White one, and I can't quite make out the number on it, but it's the number 5 machine.
Daniel Gibson.
That's Dan Gibson. Now I was having a chat with Dan earlier. All 3 drivers aboard that car new to Croft and new to a lot of circuits, so they are largely competing in the Track Day Championship. Yeah, that doesn't look like the best of starts for them aboard their G40, unfortunately. Speaking of G40s, this number 8 machine in Class B looks probably the raciest of the 3 at the moment, but again, the performance characteristics of these 3 very different cars causing them to ebb and flow. And the Clubman Championship that you mentioned, well, the second car in that queue, the 83, is leading that class, and that, of course, means he probably does lose a little bit on the straights while he's changing gear.
But I mean, really, it is a 3-car fight for the leading Class B here, because you've got Packer, Then you've got the 82 car there, which is started by 82. What number do I want to say? 83.
Yeah.
The Barlow Pussygill car.
You got Clark just finding his way through there as well. He's come up to the back of them and just cleared the Ginetta, I think. So he's suddenly put his hands in amongst this Class B5. Might disturb it a little bit.
He'll soon clear off, though, I think, Kevin Clark from this. But yeah, you've got the Ginetta there as well, making it a 3-car battle for the lead. And I think Class B looking particularly competitive this season with those 3 cars there. They're almost, there will be no to tell as well. Again, it's Kevin Clark passes Jonathan Packer, which he does not keeping well out of. Although Clark runs wide on the exit of the corner and is now going to do it all over again. He's going to have to repass those 3 cars, having done it once already. Now, that was a mistake or something broke, I'm not quite sure. But on the straight, he's able to very quickly pass 2 of them. Can't quite get past Jonathan Packer yet. But I think if anything, it's allowed the Ginetta of Tidmarsh to get back on terms with the 83 car again, which has been started by Chris Nyland, regular in the Type R Trophy in previous seasons.
Yes, the Motion Motorsport guys in there, both of the cars they're fielding, one in Class B, one in Class C, getting a lot of the Type R Trophy drivers in, aren't they? As Clark now clears the Class B leader, makes his way into 10th position overall, and so yeah, the Class B cars are right back together again.
Yeah, they are indeed, and I think it also means that Class A cars now can dominate the top 10, and then shuffled back to 11th position by Kevin Clark.
Now, the 197 Lotus Elise, sadly, now that was one we saw getting a little bit feisty, but by the looks of it, they are out of the race, sadly, after contact from the 43 machine, Steve Cheatham's Porsche Boxster. That's info from down.
The inside of Dylan Brichter into Clervaux for the 9th time, but not quite close enough to be able to make that work. So a tight little battle for 4th place here between the second of the Audis and the first of the Cupras. These two are about 11 seconds clear of the next car, which is Luke Browse in the bright green TCR. Still the fight for second place going on as well. Only 6/10 between Joel Oswick and Alan Henderson at the start of this lap.
Yeah, two really good battles here going on for 2nd and 4th. See Dylan Brichter, he will hand over the car to Ryan Parkin, and Ryan managed to finish 3rd in the Road Sports race yesterday, which is the younger sibling to the Tequila Club Enduro Championship. It was a mini endurance race at 45 minutes, and that was won by Scott Parkin yesterday. Always Dylan Brichter just did 2 of those left-hand wheels on the Audi TT into the dirt on the exit of Sunny Out, and that does allow Darren Ball to just close in a little bit more in that TCR Seat. Close bit no cigar just yet, but pretty close through the hairpin, much wider line on the way in for the Seat, hoping to gain a little bit of momentum down the straight, where the Audi TT does seem to have quite a good performance, as does the BMW in 2nd place, which is just pulling away from the Mazda MX-5, resisting its massively turbocharged 1800cc engine. So no changes just yet. They flick through the chicane once. Great. Essentially pulling out a little bit more an advantage now, isn't he, Dylan Brichter?
That's right, a long time racer, often with the Darkside team.
Well, they've won the Spa race in Class A together last year, didn't they? And they've sort of split road sports between them in recent times as well. So when Dylan was in the car at Brands Hatch GP meeting, that's when he last won the road sport.
Speaking of Brands Hatch GP, that's where the next round of this championship is going to be. This is no Spa trip this year for Club Enduro, but a 75-minute race at Brands Hatch next time out. Still, the battle for second hasn't sort of been resolved either, has it? Because still, Joel Oswick and Alan Henderson doing battle there. The Gibson Ginetta is just being lapped by Dylan Brichter and Darren Ball there as well, and very much into the traffic already as we're now 15 minutes into this race. Leading cars, the best lap of the race, 1:27.264 for Scott Parkin, and the cars at the back of the field are lapping in sort of mid to high 140s in some cases. So there is quite a disparity of lap times from front back, maybe as much as 15 or 20 seconds. So we've had 15 minutes of this race. Pit stop window not open until 30 minutes into the race, but you then do have to have 2 3-minute pit stops for each team. You have to change drivers both times because some teams only have 2, or some only have 1 driver, but a handful have 3. Kevin Clark hasn't actually done the best lap of the race there, although that's what it says on our time screen. That is still as Scott Parker, but Clark is up another place now. He's into 8th position overall. He's got the better of Ben Williams on that last lap.
It was a personal best, and it was the fastest of anybody on the last lap, though, including 1 second quicker than our race leader Scott Parkin, although I think he's dealing with a fair bit more traffic than Clark at this stage, who has found himself a relative bit of clear air. So he's going to come onto the back of Andy Schultz's BMW M2 pretty shortly, probably on this lap, I would have thought. There is our race leader, the number 1 car. You get a visual representation of his advantage there, and we have a change for the lead in Class B. Jonathan Packer has had to submit to the the 78 machine, isn't it?
83 of Chris Nyland.
83, sorry.
Yeah, and he's got Matthew Tidmarsh in the Flying Tangerine Ginetta all over the back of him as well. Still very much a 3-car fight for the lead within Class B, though. They're turning their way through complex now towards the left-hand hairpin. Pretty much nose-tail as they have been all the way through. Massively on 2 wheels there was the class leader. I thought for a moment the car was going to roll over. I'm not quite sure how he got quite that much over. He must have just clipped the curb on the exit of the hairpin, but that's cost him. And it has cost him because, well, it's a much more serious issue. The engine has blown up or something has happened there, and Christoph is going to have to pull off onto the side of the circuit, and there's a lot of smoke there coming out of the back of that car all of a sudden. Now, whether that was connected with the incident he just had, I don't know. But the class leader, as he was very briefly, is out of the race. Chris Nyland in the number 83 Class B Honda Civic Type R is out of the race. He's pulled off, and as quickly as it appeared, the smoke has disappeared. Amazing.
That's a spectacular blow-up, wasn't it? I haven't seen anything quite like that in a while. So our Class B lead has been whittled back down to 2 contenders for now, Jonathan Packer and the number 8 Matthew Tidmarsh's Ginetta G40, who are still going hammer and tongs. Wow, yeah, do you know what, that could be a contender for the Aim Shop moment of the season, that one, couldn't it?
It could. It was certainly
about 2 this weekend.
Very spectacular. Yeah, Aim Shop, who are supporters of the live stream, are giving an award for the moment of the year, however that may be defined, on any of the live streamed events during the course of the year. We had a good contender at Donington Park where we had Eddie Moyer in the Mazda 7 race have what can only be described as a huge strop after we entered the gravel trap at Redgate Corner. So we enjoyed that. So that was an early contender, but we have had others from this weekend, including that dramatic moment, which I think is resulting in quite a bit of fluid cross movement on the circuit. I didn't see the slippery surface flag being prepared there by the marshals in the background, but it's actually getting withdrawn again, so maybe
I was going to say,
so much fluid.
Didn't see any yellows there.
Yeah, well, the car's well off the circuit, isn't it? So that's out of the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is still the lead of Class B that's being disputed between number 51 Jonathan Packer and 8 Matthew Tidmarsh, both just outside the top 10 overall. I should tell you that in Class C it's Ash Moore that's leading the way there. Second is the car number 97, which was started by
David Connell,
wasn't it? And third within Class C is the John Connie Hayes Paul Subiani BMW, which of course had that damage earlier on.
That's Dan Gibson's number 5 machine there. Just got a glimpse of, which seems to have got back up to speed. We saw that moving quite slowly a little bit earlier on, but it seems to be going again now.
Good to see the 55 car, which we referred to earlier, which is the Speed Tech Motorsport M4 GT4, the X-Century Motorsport car. Paul Simerson, it is the 47-year-old from Leicester, the Ferrari Challenge racer that started this race, and a nasty accident at Spa last year. He broke his back, but good to see him back to fitness and guiding his co-driver to his race debut as well. What a prize to make race debut in. Meanwhile, this battle for second still going on. Joel Oswick unable to shrug off Alan Henderson. They're making their way through to City. They're on lap 14 of the race now, and they've been pretty much this close all the way through. I don't think Henderson has managed to find a way through yet in that little Mazda MX-5 Mark 1, which is very much modified from standard. It's obviously got a hard top on, which we don't usually see MX-5s have for racing, and it's got the massive wing on the back and the diffuser also at the rear of the car. So lots of work done to modify the aero in particular.
Looks more like a Pikes Peak car, doesn't it, than a Mazda MX-5. But a little puff of smoke there. Looked like that came from the exhaust of the BMW rather than the tyre. But I'll tell you, Henderson's going to be able to draw a pretty detailed sketch of the back of that BMW by the end of this race. So much, such as his study of it. Now we have one of the cars in the pit lane before the pit window is open. It's the orange Porsche Boxster by the looks of it. It's at the 76? Yes, Michael Downey's car. So that was clearly for some sort of mechanical issue, because the pit window has not opened yet. So, but he's back out on track now. We can see the rest of the field back with that battle for second place. Still the AK Automotive Mazda chasing the JC Racing BMW. And yeah, this battle is not going to let up, is it? I guess what will be really fascinating to see is how this battle unfolds when the driver change happens. And we have two different drivers in both the cars, but they are now 11 seconds behind our race leader, Scott Parkin.
What we're not necessarily going to be aware of is actually who's in the car at any given time either, once we get past the opening pit stop, because we know we think we know who started the race. We've been given that information, but obviously, if you've got a three-car team, we can have a good bet that they're going to divide it first. We don't know which the second driver will be necessarily. And for the cars with two drivers, are they going to do one stint and then the second driver double stints, or are they going to do it the other way around? Are they going to swap at each driver at each pit stop? A variety of different tactics that are available there. There's the Senna Osman E30 M3, which is fantastic to see. That's probably the oldest car on the grid, I would think, in this race. Car from the 90s, or even late 80s potentially, I suppose. The E30 shape, which looks absolutely magnificent. It's fairly well down the order in 25th position. And there's the 316 car, which is the Ivor Mayer's car, which is sharing today.
Yeah, good to see that they've managed to fix the damage from yesterday's road sports race. Right at the end of it, he came into pit lane with his front tyres pointing in two different directions, which is not what you want at all. And actually, when I saw it earlier, I did question whether it was going to be starting the race, but that's out in the invitational class for this round. And we also caught a glimpse there of the 160. The 169 Mazda MX-5 Matthew Simonite, which is the Class C car. And that is the P1 Fuels car run by JMS Racing. So that's the car that's run on synthetic fuels. And it's a good little experiment there, because we still don't really see that much synthetic fuel used in club motorsport. And you know, the first FIA World Championship to use it was actually the World Endurance, the World Rally Championship. They're now using it in the World Endurance and a lot of GT racing as well. And
of course, we saw it used in the race challenge last year as well, where the RF Motorsport guys were developing that and had success with that.
Actually, there was a really good video from was it Car Magazine? Yeah, it was. Yeah, James Dennison was racing that car at Donington, wasn't he? They made a video about it, which was quite interesting. But you can see it's got slightly more lucrative sponsorship on that car now.
Yeah, the 169 Matt Simonite is the owner of the car, which is being shared with James Mansell for this season. And Simonite has raced this, started out racing I think about 11 years ago in MX-5s. James Mansell has come into this from the Type R Trophy, also raced some Citroen C1s as well. So this is the battle for position. It's for 23rd place, and Sky is 5th within the class for the these powerful cars, because the 3 cars that are classes based on power to weight ratio.
Yeah, Class C being at 180 brake horsepower per tonne, compared to 240 for the Class B and 300 for the Class A cars. So that's where we get our differences in performance there. But yeah, as you said, James Mansell coming across from the tyre bar track. He was 4th in the championship in 2022, so he knows how to turn a pedal. But Matthew also is just very versed in racing MX-5. He's raced Mark 1s for many years, and then finally stepped into the Mark 3 last year in this championship with the P1 Racing Fuels partnership in that car.
Let's have a look at the 62 car there. That is the lead Andy Sadler BMW 328i, for some time Fiesta racer, and he is running in 22nd position at the moment. There's the number 66 car, that's the Hayes and Subiani car. Johnny Hayes at the wheel of that one at the moment, design engineer from Shrewsbury, who had a 20-year career in motorcycle enduro racing.
And right in between them was the Class B battle, not in the timing order, but just physically on track, as we've got the 51 and the 8 separated by not too much heading into Clairvaux. They're just rounding their way through the traffic. We can rejoin that battle now. It's been raging on all race long, and still very little separates the VW Golf from the Ginetta.
It's worth giving you a quick rundown on the race order before we get into the pit window. For those of you that are at the circuit and perhaps not looking at the live timing, which is available via the 750 Motorsport website, 750mc.co.uk or tsl-timing.com. It's number 1, Scott Parkin, that leads the way by 10.6 seconds from number 4, Joel Oswick in 2nd place. In 3rd place, number 90, Alan Henderson. 4th is number 6, Matt Richter. 5th is number 25, Darren Ball. In 6th place is number 33, Kevin Clark. In 7th place, number 22, Luke Drowse. In 8th place, 82, Ben Williams. 9th is number 69, which is Adam Schultz. And rounding out the top 10 is number 78, which is Matthew Stockford. Class B, in 11th place overall, is number 51, Jonathan Packer. And Class C is being led at the moment in 18th place overall by number 195. That's the Honda Civic of Ash Moore. But there's still more than 2 hours of racing to go.
He is. That's the 171 heading into Clairvaux, which is the Senna Osman BMW M3 in Class B.
Yeah, looks absolutely stunning, that car, which has been raced by the Osmonds for a little while. I know for occasionally appears in the Birkett Relay as well. Just alongside the Michael Downing Porsche there, with the Michael Downing Porsche, which is just going down into Tower. That car, of course, was a pit visitor.
Yes, I think it's several laps down that car. I'm trying to find it. Yes, it is. It is last.
Yeah, 15 laps down. Yeah.
Yeah, 15 laps down, 29th and last. Wow, you really did lose some contenders overnight, didn't we? We're supposed to have 34.
Yeah, we had 32 qualify, I think, and we lost 3 or 4 before the start. Well, 3 before the start of the race, given we had 29 when it started. We've lost already Donna Puskil car, that's blown up, don't think we'll see that again. And also into the pits, the Sanford Jude Weston Taylor Lotus as well. I think that's retired, although it may get back out of this. Oh, and one car off the circuit there. That's the 97 car, one of the Class C front runners, Dave Connell, in his Mazda MX-5. He was almost taken to the Rallycross circuit there, but he's back on track now. Did lose a place though to a Class A car of Neil Huggins. So he's not lost any class position. Class C still being led by Ashmore, but he's lost a bit more time. It's about 40 seconds behind the class leader within Class C. And there's the Class B battle coming back towards Clairvaux.
Still nothing separating them, isn't there? Now this is one of the Seats. It's the Browse car, isn't it? Being shared by Luke and Paul, number 22 machine. It's just making its way through. Very day glow green, very easy to spot in amongst the pack. There's the other Megs car making its way through. I think we have had a change for second place because the number 90 has just gone through on the timing order and trying to look for it out the commentary box window. They're coming through Hawthorne and into the chicane now as the pit window is now officially open, but Joel Oswick has lost second position overall to the number 90 of Alan Henderson. There we can see it on screen now. The Mazda is ahead of the BMW.
Well, it's taken half an hour, hasn't it, for that to happen, but finally he's gone through and Oswick's defences have been breached, but that's just as you were saying, the pit stop window is now open. We've got the cars making their way through towards Sunny. There is the car of Darren Ball. He's still running in 5th place. Got about 11 seconds in hand over Kevin Clark, who's been charging his way up the field and is lapping faster than everybody else at the moment, to be blunt with you. Kevin Clark is currently the fastest man on the circuit. He's not got the fastest lap of the race, despite what the caption says on the screen, but is lapping faster than anybody else at the moment. As into the pits comes our race leader, Scott Harkin. So right at the beginning of the pit window, as soon as he could get ahead of the pit stop, he's decided to do so. And he will have to be stationary for 3 minutes here. And 3 minutes is very roughly 2 laps. Of course, it was a little bit more than 3 minutes by the time you've had the pit in and pit out with the speed limit of 50 kph in the pit lane.
Rather curious here because it says his last lap was a 26.554, yet his best lap on the timing screen is being highlighted as 27.2. Is that because he's come into the pit lane?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So
not quite sure how he's managed to go faster in the pit lane.
Just because of where the timing beacon or timing line is in the pit lane to measure the pit stop. So it's a different thing that line crosses basically. Still most the tail end glass bit, isn't it? Jonathan Packer and Matthew Tidmarsh. I wonder if either of these will just make a dive for the pits to try and break this scrap up a little bit. They're coming towards the complex down the end of their 21st lap, these two. And Tidmarsh having a look at the inside of Packer into the hairpin. Is he going to get the lead of Class B? A much lower car, of course, than the Golf. We can probably barely see him out the window. And now side by side, they're going to be pretty much neck and neck as they come across the line this time. Just have a gap. Look at the gap on the screen. 0.018 seconds between those two. But I think it is going to be the Golf, or is it going to be the Golf that has its nose in front into Clervaux? It is. But only, I think, because Tidmarsh was on the outside line there. But a great little scrap between these two. Like it's a 10-lap sprint, not a 150-minute endurance race.
Well, Jonathan Packer is going to have to deal with this all race long because Matthew Tidmarsh is going to hand over the car to Chris Webster at some point, whereas Jonathan Packer is going to be doing 150 minutes solo, which I cannot imagine doing at all. That's a great physical demand that he's put on himself.
Yeah, not sure if he picked up on it. The 97 car, which was the Dave Connell car, went all over the grass. Tom's reported that's looking like there's a lot of grass in the front of that car.
Hood's off the number 1 Scott Parkin car. Not sure how standard that is to take the hood off in your 3-minute pit stop.
I guess they just want to keep it as cool as they possibly can.
Maybe, but so that's an extra job they're giving themselves. They are putting it back on now. I suppose they do have the quick release pins on it, don't they? So it's not a big job, is it? No, okay. It looks fairly cool, calm and collected down there.
Very well organised, the Darkside team.
Well, that is true.
Yeah, Giles Greenbridge there with his stopwatch to ensure fair play in terms of the amount of time stationary. It has to be at least 3 minutes, and as the season goes on, there will be penalties as well for drivers that have had success in previous rounds. But of course, this being the first round of the championship, there are no such penalties. Now, what's going on here? Because where was Packer? So Tidmarsh is there on his own, and Packer.
Oh, he's way up the road.
Way up the road.
He's
so
way up the road.
Tidmarsh, he had a spin in the complex, so just behind our commentary. So we were looking at Scott Parkin on the screens, I think. He's had a spin, and that means now that Tidmarsh had a spin, and it's Parkin now that Packer that is well clear in that class.
Well, if he did have a spin, then he did it very stealthily, because normally we hear the tyre squeal, don't we? If it's right behind us, the complex. Bit of a moment there. I can't imagine it's full spin, because he's only a few seconds behind, but that's definitely broken up the the battle. And now that was the second place bar, putting a lap on the number 10. I mean, they're both Class A cars, but that means that second position is lapped up to 12th position overall now. So the Rob Fenwick BMW M2 getting a lap put on it, as well as another one for the Ivan Mares car. Through goes the Speedtech BMW as well for good measure. But that battle for second place that was so long being what it was now a battle for the lead, because Scott Parkin's come in to the pits, but the battle between the 90 and the number 4 that has raged all race long is looking a bit more stable, with 4.4 seconds between them. So the Mazda MX-5 of Alan Henderson leading the way on the timing sheets, but yet to serve its first pit stop, of course.
Yep. So we've only really had one of the front runners in so far, which is Scott Parkin. Well,
one car. There's only 4 cars that have been into pit lane at all, and one of them was out of sequence, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So that won't count as one of the official stops. A few more actually just coming in as we say that. There's one that's in the
20
pit lane. That's retired. That's the 20 car.
It's Tom Collar.
Oh, that's a great shame, because Tom Collar and Nick Selby, of course, teammates who won the local team championship 10 years ago this year, and Tom also had M3 Cup champion. Yeah. Tom, I think you can just see him at the side of the car there.
It's their series debut as well, isn't it? And the first time either of them have raced since 2019. I think as well. So not a very happy return there for Tom Collar and Nick Shelby.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see them out later in the season. That's a car that's been prepared by Tom, and his dad Alan, and Nick helped a bit as well, I think. But it's sad that they've not got more than a fifth of the way through this.
That was an Audi TT from Darkside that was parked.
Yeah, and I can see the marshals going to it now. I don't know if that is Scott Parkin! Scott Parkin! He's stranded on the side of the circuit. The man that was leading the race before the pit stops. He's struggling to get into a gear now, isn't he? That's what he's trying to do, is wiggling the sequential box. He's managed to...
Well, he's found reverse or neutral.
Yeah, he's rolling back down, and now got a safety car out. And that means, while the safety car is out, you cannot make a mandatory pit stop.
Wow.
Not count. So sensation here as Scott Parkin, last year's champion, is graduated from the Goldwing Class B to the Audi TT in Class A. He was leading quite comfortably before he made an early pit stop, and now he is out of the race. You can see the marshals heading towards it to offer their assistance, carrying the fire extinguisher in case that's needed. There's the confirmation that the safety car is out. Yellow flags waving all around the circuit. Safety car paused. Safety car displays lit up here at Croft.
Great drama in the opening hour of this 150-minute Euro Club Enduro Championship race. Scott Parkin car that has looked absolutely imperious all weekend long through the road sports race, qualifying on the front row of the grid, taking the lead at the first time of asking at Clervaux, and pulling out quite a healthy margin before making his pit stop. And Scott is out of the car, so there is no chance of him getting that car going again. Scott Parkin and the Darkside Developments, that brand new Audi TT. The only difference between one of the major differences is not only the suspension, but that car has a sequential box, which the sister number 6 car does not, and it has backfired on them and bringing to an end. Quite an incredible run of form for Scott Parkin, going back to his Class B races last year.
And a great shame, in particular for Scott. It's a home race in Yorkshire, of course, from Barnsley and South Yorkshire. Here we are in North Yorkshire, up near Darlington. So we'll be disappointed not to be able to finish here and get his title defence off to, just like the world-class possible start, really. It will be. So safety car out, Alain McGowan, safety car will pick up, what is it picked up? It's picked up the Stockford car, hasn't it? But trying to, only about 4 cars behind is the race leader, which is Alan Henderson now in the Mazda MX-5. So when it's safe to do so, they'll wave those slower cars through, which include the 2 Class B leads as well, doesn't it? Jonathan Backer is immediately behind the safety car, also the Matthew Titmarsh Ginetta G20 as well, G40 I should say. Safety car, I think we'll let those by and pick up Alan Henderson.
And there's one car between them as well, which is the 97, the one that went through the grass earlier. So,
and I was just looking, that's not been into the pits, I don't think, that car, because Tom reported that it was looking a little bit grassy on the front end and therefore may experience some overheating issues, but seemingly it's so far at least. It was
before at this speed.
Well, that's the danger. If the grass hasn't sort of blown its way very clear of the air intakes.
Of course, what that's done is eradicate Henderson's 6-second lead and 13-second gap between Joel Oswick and Dylan Brichter. Now into the pits has come the number 62 of Lee Deadly Sadler, his BMW 328i.
Now, did they come in before the safety car boards went out? Is the question. I don't know. They may have done. I guess.
But yeah, we'll have to get confirmation from Tom about that one. I didn't notice it going into the pits, but they don't look to be in any great hurry. It might be a regular schedule.
Yeah. So. The safety car train, I think, looks more a bit sunny at the moment, because I can't see any cars at Poland at all now. The recovery truck is on its way to collect Scott Parkin's place. You see him heading past Scott and his car. Scott, I think he's giving a wave to the Brichter there, who's just gone past the safety car. So misfortune for Scott. Let's head down to the pit lane now, and we can hear from the Darkside Motorsport team. Tom is with them.
So I'm down here with Ty Kinton from Darkside, who's just going to walk us through a little bit about what happened to the leader. So Ty, you think it was a sequential box?
Yeah, looking at the onboard video and listening to Scott on the radio, we think the sequential box has gone. We're currently stuck in reverse out on the track, so unfortunately that's our day done with that car. Luckily we've still got Dylan and Ryan in the other car with the normal box in, so hopefully we can get a good result with those guys. Scott was roughly 11 seconds in the lead when we lost the box, so we were hopeful for a good result today, but it's one of them things, it's racing, there's not a lot we can do about it. It's a new thing for us this year, running the sequential box in that car, something Scott's wanted to do with it. We're running quite a few not experimental but new parts to the car and the team on that one, so it's one of them things. We've tried everything we can. We tried in the pit stop just there to make sure it was good for Scott, and he said it felt better on the first out in the first lap, but unfortunately it's something terminal inside the box that there's nothing any of us could have done, so it's just one of them things.
Is that why the bonnet cover was off? We were having a little bit of a chat about that during the pit stop.
Yeah, we definitely we just checking the linkage and stuff like that, just see if anything we could do in the pit stop. We still made the stop, we checked everything with the car, we still made the stop within inside the 3 minutes, so we did it spot on, we didn't lose any time there, so checking the car was important, but it's just one of the things, it's racing and it's very unfortunate.
It is, but like you say, you've got one car left in the race now, and also plenty of time still to go in the champ.
Yeah, that's right. It's a long season. We all know that, and anything can happen with these races, especially with the longer races today. So hopefully today we can get Ryan and Dylan up there, maybe even fighting for the podium, and that'll be a good result for the rest of the team and lift spirits. So yeah, good.
Great stuff. Thanks very much for talking to us, Ty. Thank you. And I'll throw it back to the commentary team.
Yeah, so we're behind safety car here at Croft Circuit. We've had just under 3/4 of an hour of this race. The pit window had opened, it's temporarily closed while we have the safety car out, so we're going to take the opportunity for sure. at Croft. Of Scott Parkin being hauled onto the recovery truck. That was the car that was leading the race, but we heard from the team a moment ago in the pit lane that the sequential box effectively stuck in reverse out on circuit. Nothing that they could do, nothing Scott could do. And the reigning champion, who was leading quite comfortably before his pit stop, afraid out of the race. But the team was still hopeful of a good result for the sister car being driven by Dylan Victor and later in the race by Scott's twin Ryan as well. So at the moment it's Alan Henderson leading in car number 90 in the Mazda MX-5, from in second place number 4, which is Joel Oswick. In third place it's number 16 Victor, fourth is 25 Darren Ball, fifth is 33 Kevin Clark, sixth is the 22 car of Luke Browse, in seventh place is number 52, which is Ben Williams, eighth is number 69 Anthony Schultz, ninth is number 78 Stopford, and 10th is the Class B leads number 51 Robin Packer. Second place car in Class B, 11th overall is Tim Marsh. Third in Class B is now number 43, which is Steve Cheatham in the Porsche. Class C is the Ashmore Honda Civic 195, leads the way in 16th place overall. From in second place number 97, that's the Dave Connell Mazda MX-5. Third now, a change actually, is the Matthew Simonite car, which is another MX-5 as well, the 169 car. So Chris, we're just working our way around behind the safety car at the moment, but it looks like the car is shortly to be cleared from the circuit, so we should be able to go racing, if not at the end of this lap, then the next one.
Yes, we certainly hope so. The recovery truck making its way towards the end of the lap at the hairpin, so I'll swing left into pit lane and Darkside will get that car back. So unique little view. You don't often see the car on board from the recovery truck, do we?
No, we don't. So Scott's not on board now, which is just as well. So we're going to have that into pit lane. There's the safety car train. Now, have we got to wave the cars? There's 4 cars between the safety car and the leader.
I think we might have to. I'm just looking at the Class C lead battle. It says there's a lap between them. I can only imagine that is because somewhere else they're separated.
Yeah, it's still the Stopford Audi. It's the first car behind the safety car, and the Dave Connell car is a third car behind the safety car, so effectively he's almost a lap down on the car, so they ought to wave those cars from the pass. So the safety car has still its lights on, so I think they'll wave the cars by, yes they are, as we speak, they'll wave the cars by now. It'll just be the first 4 cars that get waved by, and then they'll pick up the Alan Henderson car, which is the 5th car past, and that is the race leader number 90. And when the safety car comes in, pit window will open.
Just an update on the number 20 Tom Colonic Shelby car that we saw in the garage. Was an oil leak for them, which has caused them to retire from the race. Now, pit window is not yet opened, and yet we have a car in pit lane. It was the number 10 car that has come in. It was, which is the Rob Fenwick BMW M2 from SpeedTech. So I wonder what has gone on there. They've got to him at the door.
Yeah, this won't count as the mandatory stop. Now, if they realise quickly enough, well, maybe there's a problem with the car, which was solved genuinely now.
Yes.
But if it wasn't, the safest thing to do was just get back out there again and come back in next time around, because what you don't want to do is have a 3-minute stop and then have to do another 2 minutes.
Well, he's out of the car and looking a bit apathetic. Just looking at it going, so I would hazard a guess that it's a problem on the car rather than anything else. I mean, SpeedTech results. So yeah, would be too surprised. 1 hour 40 left on the clock in this race. We should get going this lap.
The cars which have been released from the circuit aren't actually going that quickly. Alan Stopford is, but then the Jonathan Packer little group, that's not going quite as quickly, which is the chagrin of number 97 Dave Connell. He needs to sort of close the gap back up onto the pack so he doesn't lose too much of his disadvantage in Class C. But they are heading on to their next lap. The safety car is up at Sunny. We're just having a look at that little tape on. We're having a look at that little tape on.
So I think that was Andrew Shepherd who was ready to get in. It almost looks like they're strapping in another driver, but of course if they can't do the driver change, well, they can count, but it won't count.
They're good gets. I mean, they're not going to win Class A today, so possibly they're just thinking, well, we're not going to win prizes, so let's just take it as it comes. Right, safety car in with an hour and 38 minutes left to go, and it's Alan Henderson that leads the way as the race gets back underway. Joel Oswick chasing after. We've got Ivor Mayers straight into the pit lane as soon as the safety car has come in, and that will count as a mandatory stop. There's Darren Ball just squeezing his way past the Lotus. But he's got a clever car right behind him now, so this is for positions for P4. Darren Ball in the Dayglow Black Cupra and the black-orange BMW CSL of Kevin Clark. They're heading down the back straight now, about 10 car lengths between them. But we could have a position change here. Down towards Tower Corner they come. But just behind Michael down is orange Porsche Boxster as well. And all the time Kevin Clark getting close to the back of Darren Ball, as we can see now as they come into this back into Jim Clark Essex.
And while they were getting going, the Jonathan Packer led group of 3 cars were only coming out of Tower, so there is still quite a big gap, I think, between the top 2 in Class B and then the 1 and 2 in Class C.
Well, second in Class B is into the pits. Matt Tidmarsh is in now in the number 8 car. So there is the 76 car, which is the Michael Daly car, which has been competing in this championship for a long time. He's inspired to race by his dad racing in the club engine. He's got able to race now. We're still watching the live stream at home as we are watching Steve Cheatham go through as well. And there is that 55 M3 GT4, sorry.
Oh, and into the pits has come Joel Oswick from second position. So let's see if they end up doing a driver change.
And meanwhile, I can see out of the window we have had the change now for 4th place because Kevin Clark has got ahead of Darren Ball at Clervaux Corner. We're watching the Tidmarsh car.
I have a confirmation on the number 10, the Rob Fenwick car. So they did do the driver change, but that was because the car came in, it had no power. So I think they figured, like, well, we've lost enough time already, let's just get the driver change out of the way and just accept the penalty when it inevitably comes. So just keep an eye on it to see if John Oswick does step out of the
Class C
car.
Class C leader in, that's the 195 car of Ashmore, and he's getting out of the car, which he'll need to do while the car's refuelled anyway. We'll start the driver in the car while it is being refuelled for safety reasons. Is it going to be Ashmore that gets back into the car, or will it be his teammate Sam Dennis?
Question, isn't it? And the number 97 has come in as well. That was the car that was second in Class C.
So you got first and second in Class C in the pit lane at the same time there.
Yep.
So that could be interesting how that pans out. Meanwhile, Alan Henderson is staying out there and building up his leads. Of course, Joel Oswick has come into the pit, so that's going to promote Dylan Brichter into 2nd place. Now, and Kevin Clark is in 3rd place and bearing down on him, look, as they are making their way down the straight. There's only 1.6 seconds now between the BMW of Kevin Clark, which started from the pit lane, and Dylan Brichter, who's in 2nd place in the Audi TT.
I don't know what Kevin Clark had for breakfast this morning, but it certainly fueled him up. He's only 8 seconds off the lead. Now, that safety car's done wonders for him, actually, hasn't it? As we've got the 119 Audi TT into the pits.
That's Bobby Trundley.
Yes, that's the Team Brit supported car, isn't it? From notes on that.
Yeah, Bobby Trundley, Sandro Ballesteros, the two drivers of that car.
It's the Racing with Autism Audi TT supported by Team Brit. That was the name I was looking for. There's actually a BBC news article about those two and their racing ambitions. So that was 78 just going through picture, and Class B leader Jonathan Packer. This is for second position now, with Kevin Clark right on the back of Dylan Brichter, getting a fantastic run out of sunny out and to the outside of the complex. He's just going to drive straight round the outside of an Audi TT. He is! What a sensational move by Kevin Clark, who now takes second position in this race. Oh, Brichter, I thought was going to have a little look up the inside of the hairpin there, but this is a great driving by Kevin Clark's in the number 33, that BMW M3 CSL. Absolutely lightning fast, 9 seconds behind our leader Alan Henderson now, and I'm going to keep a close eye on those lap times. Clark obviously was putting a move on in there, but he was a second slower than our race leader. Let's see what he can do in clean air.
Yeah, absolutely right. Kevin Clark, lots of experience. Of course, it was sort of about 30 years ago, he was racing the Car V6s, Euro Car V8s, and they were very much a highlight of the UK national racing scene. But he's been racing endurance racing and the British Endurance Championship car for a long time. He's just putting a lap there on Matt Tidmarsh and Chris Webster flying Tangerine Ginetta G40, which was earlier in second place in Class B. Will's made a pit stop now, and yeah, he's just signalling to Dylan Brichter to pass me on the right hand side there. Knows that the Audi TT is much quicker. There's no sense in trying to delay these quicker cars as they're coming through. Let's head down to the pit lane now. Tom Butterworth is there with
Rob Fennick, I'm down in the pit lane with driver of the number 10, just come in with the issue. Just walk us through what's happening.
Just seems to be losing power. It's like some fuel issue or some sort of like that, but seems to be struggling with power. We were absolutely flying until the safety car came out. We were cruising down the safety car, and then suddenly just, I don't know, we just started losing power. We had to come in, of course. It's not one of our mandatory pit stops either, because behind the safety cars we've had to come in anyway. But we've come back in. There's plenty of fuel in it. It's not as if it's, we haven't got enough fuel. It just seems to be some technical problem. But he's gone back out and he seems to have regained power again now. So we're back out and trying to make up for lost time.
He's still circling around, so it can't be too bad. I would hope. Maybe just an intermittent issue, but like you say, that's going to cost you an extra 3 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing we can do about that. There was no chance to stay out. Gone into sort of limbo mode, so there was absolutely pointless staying out. So we had to come in and get the lads to look at it, and he's back out and hopefully underway. And we'll go again. Just have to make up 3 minutes.
Yeah, great stuff. You've done you've called IT and turned it all off and turned it back on again.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. That's about the state of my IT requirement. Can I say that?
Great stuff, Rob. Thanks very much for talking to us. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So we'll see how the number 10 goes for the rest of the race. Hopefully they can make up their 3 minutes. Back to Ian and Chris.
Thanks very much, Tom. Down there in pit lane. Well, we're in this sort of middle phase of the race, but it's quite hard to read because we've got some drivers that made one stop, so it's 2/3 of them now, some that have yet to stop. Of course, drivers also have a second stop to make, and they have to do that before the final 15 minutes. It's 1 hour and a quarter before we reach that point. There's the 195 car that's back out on circuit. That was the car that was leading in Class C, but it's now made it stop. It's still actually second in Class C though, such was, I think, its advantage over everybody else. That's the Sam Dennis International, I'm not sure which driver it is aboard right now, the Motion Motorsport prepared car, but it's still running strongly by the looks of it.
Yeah, again, the Type R trophy racers called that car, pair of them. And I was talking to Sam Dennis earlier. He was telling me about his medieval reenactments that he does, and how part of the livery on that car is very much inspired by what he does there. And when he's not doing that, he's a driving instructor.
Okay.
My mind immediately went to arts rather than on the mirror signal maneuver kind of driving.
Okay. I suppose if there's any sort of on-track incident that involves Sam Dennis, you're going to have to watch out. You're going to have some kind of medieval weapon
Yes.
at the paddock. But I think MSUK's Race with Respect will still have something to say about using medieval reenactment weapons.
I can't remember if they added that into the technical regs for this year. It wouldn't have been one to have thought of. Now the GT4 BMW here, the 55, getting its elbows out against the is it the 23? I think that was the TCR.
Just hearing, sorry Chris, that there's going to be a penalty for the number 8 though, which is the Tidmarsh and Webster Ginetta, one of the Class B front runners. We don't know what that's for as yet, but it could well be a pit stop infringement possibly. We'll see if we can get any more details on it. There's nothing on our screens at the moment to tell us about that. We'll see if we can find it now.
Just for context, that was the 82 Seat putting a lap on the GT4 BMW. the GT4 car, Paul Simerton, in 10th position overall at the moment, whereas the Seat in 6th position.
And there's the leader in the pits, Alan Henderson's car, the number 90 AK Motorsport Mazda MX-5, is being refueled at the moment. It's the car that is shared, that's number 90 car with Daniel Irving. Of course, 2 pit stops that have to be made during the course of the race. They're down in the garage sort of closest to our commentary position here. Another jug of fuel is required, and it'll be interesting because it's a 150-minute race, not a 120-minute race, so you get all the fuel in at one stop, or you need to do some fuel at both stops. So there's different strategy that comes into play. Now there's the 62 car, that's the car that was started by Lee Dendy Sadler, but is now possibly without a gear aboard. The bonnet on that just looks like it's flipping a little bit, doesn't it? So that's something that could be a cause for concern.
We saw in the low-cost race earlier, Martin Westcart's had some bodywork moving backwards and forwards, depending on whether it was in the slipstream or in clean air. But that seems to be more towards the back end of the bonnet, doesn't it? So, but it's not happening on the left-hand side by the looks of it. So I wonder if he's had a bang on the right-hand side or something like that.
It's our race leader. That's Kevin Clark now. He's in the lead of the race on the screen now.
Just noticed Scott Parkin's car is back up and running and just come into pit lane, but because Scott has exited the car, I somehow doubt that he'll be able to get back in.
Well, he's had outside assistance.
Yes.
So
that's
have to check the regulations on that, but he's in any case several laps down anyway, so not going to be a force in this race.
No, not at all. But yeah, this 33 now leading the race. Quite astonishingly. I suppose we should really be keeping an eye on where the 90 comes out after its pit stop, because of course Joel Oswick's JC Racing BMW has been into the pits to serve its first pit stop already, so it might have James Collins already on board. I'm just looking for it in the timing order. It's currently in 10th position overall, so we will wait to see where the 90 comes out. See, that's had its hood up as well. When Scott Parker's car had its hood up, it was because they were looking at the gearbox. I hope there's not further issues there on the modified AK Automotive Mazda MX-5. Kevin Clark going to stay out for another lap, and the number 90 is about to re-emerge onto the racetrack. So let's keep an eye out for Joel Oswick's and James Collins' BMW. As you just see the Mazda trundling down pit lane at the moment.
It's behind us.
But the BMW definitely isn't going to be within striking distance, is it? Because the Mazda is at pit lane exit now, whereas the JC Racing BMW is only just at the hairpin.
Yeah, so basically most of the length of the start and finish straight between the 90 Mazda. I can't help but feel that's number 47, I think 47. That car, and the second place car, what was the erstwhile second place car, Joel Oswick and James Collins. Hour and 25 minutes still to go in this race. We're over halfway through this race. We've had lots of drama, of course. We've had Kevin Clark come from the pit lane to lead the race. We've had Scott Parkin pull out when the sequential gearbox got stuck in reverse, although he's reappeared in pit lane since then.
It's been very enjoyable. We've got the sister Darkside Audi TT currently in second position at 6.8 seconds behind this car, and we've got Tom downstairs. Who have you got for us, Tom?
Down in the pit lane, just got out of the number 90, fantastic looking Mazda MX-5, all sorts of flaps and wings and things on that, and the bonnet up as well. Can you just walk us through your first stint and then what was going on during the pit stop?
It was okay in the first stint, just sat behind that BMW there, and he started to look like he was struggling with his tyres, coming through like sunny in, sunny out complex, and caught some back markers and managed to just go inside the hairpin. And I managed to get a little bit of a gap in the safety car. There was a car between us and him on the restart, so I managed to go away again, which is nice. Not much else happened. Really, it was a shame for the Darkside car to fail because he was flying at the start. Really impressive.
So with the bonnet up and things, was that just a transponder change or what was going on?
Yeah, I think the transponder seems to be intermittent or something, so they've asked to put another transponder on there, so I don't know. I was out there.
So nothing major, nothing to worry about?
No, nothing untoward as of yet. We've got a couple of vibrations, but I think it's just tyres out of balance now and stuff like that, so...
Will you change tyres on the second stop?
No, I don't think so. I mean, tyre wear's fine. I think it's probably just a tyre turn on the rim or something. Just a little bit of a vibration, but everything feels okay, so...
Great stuff, thank you very much for talking to us, Alan.
Into the second hour of the race now, so hearing about the transponder change on the number 90, and of course confirmation that Daniel Irving is now at the wheel of the AK Automotive Mazda MX-5, which is currently in 8th position, but is the actually the second car. So of the cars that have been the leading car is the number 25 of Darren Ball, which is, well, actually that is currently in pit lane, I should say. So we'll see in a few minutes whether that is going to be the top car. And Clark has come into pit lane now. Kevin Clark, who was just leading this race, having started from the pit lane, so that promotes the number 6 Darkside Developments Audi TT into the overall lead of the race, yet to serve its stop, of course. Dylan Brechter on board that car. Of course, the Class A winners from Spa last year, and Dylan and Ryan Parkin splitting the honours for the road sports races. It was Ryan aboard the car yesterday when it finished third overall. Dylan last year winning at Brands Hatch GP, Ryan winning at Brands Hatch Indy, and also finishing third at Snetterton last year. But of course, Ryan now carrying the Parkin name of Darkside Developments as the number 78 car just rolled past me into pit lane as well, which is the Matthew Stockford Audi RS3, which I believe is making its first stop of the race as well. But yes, we'll keep a close eye on where Darren Ball and indeed Kevin Clark fall out in the mix of the. And I've just got word in my ear that Scott Parkin's number 1 car has rejoined the race. There it is. So wow. That's quite surprising to see. I mean, obviously it had outside assistance, but clearly they're allowed to rejoin the race. And frankly, it's amazing that they've got it going again, considering that car was stuck in reverse gear half an hour ago.
Yep, it's really a bit of an extended test session now, isn't it, for this car, to see if they've managed to resolve the issue against Harley. But yeah, there'll be not a lot to play for. They just need to check if they would be eligible to be classified or not.
Well, should we see how many laps down they are? They are 18 laps down on race leader Dylan Brechter. Of course, we do have Kevin Clark into the pits. Actually, I wonder if it's already emerged. I can't quite tell if there's a BMW M3 shaped wing poking out the back there, if that's just some appendage on the building. It's not saying that it's currently in pit lane according to our timing screen, so we'll see where it's emerged relative to the number 90 AK Automotive Mazda MX-5 of Daniel Irving, who is now aboard that car. And confirmation as well, they changed the transponder. That's why the hood up was in the pit stop, because we've had several messages about from race control about that, and we might have seen it dipping in and out of the timing tower, but they have now changed it aboard that car during that first pit stop.
Yep, so 80 minutes left. We're nearly halfway through this race now. Kevin Clark, you can see, is just coming out of the pit lane, just ahead, actually, of the number 4 car, the John Oswald James Collins car. And yeah, those two effectively are together on track for position 2. That's behind the leading car at the moment. We've just seen the sister TT of Scott Parkin's, the Dylan Brechter Ryan Parkin car, which is still yet to make a stop. Only the first 4 cars in the timing tower yet to make their stop. That's the Dylan Brechter car, it's the Luke Brower's car, the Ben Williams car, and Jonathan Packard, who leads in Class B. They're the only drivers that have yet to make a stop of any one of great significance. There are one or two just right to the back of it. I think one of them is a retirement, and the other is Michael Downey, who in any case is a long way down because he was a very early pit stopper in the race. Two BMWs there getting together through the complex. That the second of them is the number 55 car, which is the M4 GT4 for Simerson and Stanton. And they're chasing after the 69 car, which is the M2 of Andy Schultz and Matthew Hampson.
I'm just trying to keep an eye out for where lots of net race leaders might be. They're coming past us now. So Kevin Clark is ahead not only of James Collins, but also James Collins is ahead of Daniel Irving. So that's quite a significant change. They're coming out of the hairpin now as we see the Audi RS3 making its way out of pit lane. But they're just coming down the straight. So you see the Mazda is going to be the third of the sort of leading cars. And of the cars that have made their stop, Kevin Clark is the leader of them, from James Collins and then Daniel Irving.
Yeah, that's right. So a bit of a shake-up then amid the pit stops. It's not been plain sailing for the car that was leading on the road before those driver changes and pit stops.
And there's only 2.5 seconds between them as well, which is quite surprising. We'll see how that unfolds later in the race. They've also got they've got quite a significant gap to the car behind them, which I think, well, the 78 has only just emerged, so it would have been in the pits when the timing was updated. So next car, I can tell, would be the 69. Andy Schultz started that BMW M2. Not sure if Matt Hampson is now aboard that car. I would suspect so, but I think that would be the next car. In fact, yes, that's just been updated onto our timing screen, so that might be a net fourth, depending on where the Audi TT comes out.
Looks like the Daniel Irving is losing a bit of ground to the two BMWs out, which is possibly not too surprising. Alan Hunson, the quicker of the two drivers in that car, so maybe the next 5 just losing out a little bit to those two. Those three cars are mentioned 5th, 6th and 7th, but they're the first drivers to have made their possibly the second from still a penalty, because we did have a penalty board there.
Yes, that is a good one on there, but it is likely that the second one was for the penalty.
Let's head down to the pit lane once again. Tom Butterworth is speaking to the driver of Team 169.
I'm down in the pit lane with Matt Simonite, who's just got out of the 169. Matt, how's the race been going so far?
Yeah, we were a bit soft at the start. We lost a bit of time. Made it back up during the pit window. We stayed out a bit longer than everyone else. Got the lap times back where they need to be. Made a bit of time, but I think we're currently P2 or P3. If we can keep the pace going, James is a little bit quicker than me here, so we should be on for hopefully a podium.
Okay, well, you've got an interesting sponsor for this year on the car as well, which you're from Chesterfield, so I'm going to go with them being an air conditioning shop in Chesterfield. Yorkshire Air Conditioning Shop, is that what it is?
Yeah, so they sell fans and other types of air conditioning.
Only fans, that's all they sell.
Yeah, that's it. So so the sponsor came across from Type R Trophy. So it's ran James's Civic for 2 years with the OnlyFans sponsorship on. He's come to do a full season of this and brought the sponsorship over. We went a bit more bolder with it this year and went like a full livery. So they are the title sponsors. But yeah, we do get a lot of attention from it, which is pretty good. It helps the other sponsors because it draws the eye over them as well. So yeah, it's a good one. It gets the conversation started.
It certainly does. Yeah. Great stuff. Thanks very much. Hope you have a good run in for the rest of the race. Are you getting back in?
No, doing a double stint this end bit.
Doing double stint now. Great stuff. All right. And who's your driver?
It's James Mansell.
James Mansell. There we go. That's our chat with the 169, the OnlyFans card. That's all done and dusted. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Tom. We're exactly halfway through this race now, and there's the number 8 car, which I understand has just had a drama, Chris.
Yes, just had an off at Sunny Inn we've been hearing in our ears, and of course that car has already been into pit lane twice, we believe once for a penalty, definitely has picked up a penalty, we believe it served it, so it's not been really smooth running for the Tidmarsh Webster Flying Tangerine Racing Ginetta G40, bearing in mind that car was for so long in this race on the back of Jonathan Packer for the lead in Class B.
That's right. So it's all sort of fallen apart a little bit for them, and obviously in the early stages of this race we also lost their early Class B leader, which was the Chris Nyland Honda Civic as well, so it's all sort of opened up for Jonathan Packer here to have an uncontested win maybe in Class B. He's still got to make both of his pit stops though, and he's got an hour left to do it, 59 minutes left to do it. English have to do it for the last 15 minutes of the race. Ben Williams is just coming in, one of the four front runners yet to have made his pit stop, so he is going to come into pits and he'll either stay in the car for another stint or hand over to Iyengar. It might be though that as we're halfway through the race and Rocher's driving evenly, a bit of driver change there.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, you could do your pit stops on back-to-back laps, couldn't you? Just whether you've got the fuel to actually be able to make that happen.
Well, if you've gone halfway into the race, you should be able to go the same distance.
Yes, yeah, that is very true. In theory. So this the Ginetta G40, I believe the car in front of it was actually full position. It was the Lotus. Yes, it was. They're only half a second at the timing line last time around. That is not necessarily for class position because the Lotus is Class A, Ginetta is Class B, but that was for 15th and 16th position. Overall, as we can see, the Capture Motorsport crew at work here in the pit lane.
Yeah, there they are, just getting the fuel into the car. You can see the precautions that have to be made. The extinguisher has to be. Well, is that Dylan Richter that's just come into the pits? Was that Scott Parkin? There's an Audi TT that's just had input in it. Maybe it was Scott Parkin, but it's not Richter. It is Scott Parkin, so Richter's still out there on the circuit, and yeah, you can see, as we said, it's an extended section, it's sort of flapping the
that was a very no, I know that they like flappy paddle gearboxes, but that's not quite the flappy paddle they're after. It looks like the gearbox completely given up. I've never seen a gear stick move like that before.
Yeah, it's sort of very, very wobbly, isn't it? There's the Tidmarsh and Webster Ginetta again. You can see it's some tape on the right front. It's just been picked up at some point as well. And that's just behind on the road, the number 97, Connell. Oh, and that's actually for position as well, again, not for class position. Connell and Wilkinson Hughes in Magic 5 number 97. They're still running second in Class C behind the Sam Dennis and Ash Moore car. Quite some distance behind it. So Ginetta should get through, it's a class above, quite literally, Class B compared to Class C. And yeah, very short work of that car gets up to, I think it's now 14th position. And you can just see the Lotus behind as well of Neil Huggins and Lloyd Huggins. Lloyd Huggins we've seen him much from the side before. Neil Huggins' father has raced all kinds of cars.
Yeah, that was the car that the number 8 Ginetta was fighting just a lap ago, but has now moved its way through into 14th position overall. But actually, despite the problems, still running third in class.
Yeah.
And 42 seconds behind the Cheatham Schofield Porsche Boxer with his second in class, and the next car up the road for position as well. As into the pits comes the number 90 Mazda MX-5 for its second stop.
Now,
but it is moving a little more slowly than I would have expected.
When we heard from Alan Henderson, did they give a hint as to who's going to drive the last stint there? I missed that interview.
I don't think they did.
No.
I know it's Daniel Irving at the wheel of the car at the moment.
I wondered if he was going to do a middle stint and Henderson was going to get it at the end.
Alan
suggests this is not scheduled.
I can see Alan from the commentary box window assessing the car, but he isn't race ready. He hasn't got his helmet on or anything. It looks like our camera guy's there, so we might get the pictures very shortly, but this does not look scheduled for the AK Automotive team.
It doesn't. Meanwhile, looking at Jonathan Packer, who still leads in Class B on screen, I was actually third overall. There is the work going on. The screwdriver
that's not the transponder, is it? Which is the one thing they changed on the pit stop. So it looks like a more serious issue that has caused the hood to go up
good movement around on there to fix the problem.
Well, I hope either Daniel will take this car to the end of the race, or maybe Alan will get ready and get aboard it, because they may as well do their second stop now, as is the JC Racing BMW E46 of James Collins and John Oswick, which has come in for its second stop.
Yeah, confirmation of snap linkage on the Scott parking car, which is now done for the day. We'll see if we figure out who's getting into car number 4 then, or if there is a change for that car for the final stint, whether it's going to be John Oswick or James Collins in the final stint.
Daniel Irving about to head back out onto the track, so whatever issue there was under the hood of that Mazda MX-5, it looks like they hope they resolved it, and it is definitely Daniel Irving still aboard that car.
It is, but it wasn't a 3-minute stop, so they're going to have to make another one.
You've done very well if you've managed to time that, because I've lost complete track of time.
I don't think that was 3 minutes.
Well, they may as well have kept it in there, surely.
So it felt like less than 3 to me anyway.
Well, okay, we'll see. If it was like bang on 3 minutes.
Let's see if we can work out who's going to be in this car for the final stint.
There's a driver change happening, that's for sure. We didn't know who was in.
No refuelling going on. We'll see if Tom, hopefully, he'll be able to find out who it is he's going to be in that car for the final stint. If he can get down there to the BMW. There's a Tom probably not too far away. Can't recognise the driver from the pillars, unfortunately.
Side profiles now. We're speaking to them earlier. Might have been James on the right hand side. I was James Collins in the car.
Right, so it's John Oswick now.
So it is Joel Oswick now, I thought.
First final stint in this race.
Yes, that's it. I can almost hear his Scottish tones through the cameraman.
That's right then. So just over an hour to go. It's going to be John Oswick back in the car for the final stint. 68 minutes to go. It's a 3-minute stop they need to make. So there's a lot of time to play with.
This is fascinating to me, and it really is how they coordinate and work to time.
Do you think they rehearse this? Do you think that?
I think they should.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, I've worked with professional race teams who haven't practiced their pit stops, and then are suddenly surprised when their pit stop is 1 minute and 30 seconds longer than everyone else's.
Yeah, we went on there, guys. Yeah, we didn't really think it through before we started. So they didn't rehearse it.
Not quite at all. So, we're still waiting for our race-leading Audi TT to come into the pits. Jonathan Packer is now in pit lane from the Class B lead and third overall. This is his first stop, so we are just left with the top 2, which is Dylan Brichter Audi and the Luke and Paul Browse set Leon number 22, which is
Luke Browse
just come in. So that was good timing there. So now we are just waiting for the Darkside Audi to come into the pits, as looks like Joel Oswick is about to head back onto track. He's been pushed out. I can see it in pit lane now, and he's going to rejoin. So it's kind of the first of the second of the front runners to make their second stop. Let's see where he comes out relative to Daniel Irving, which has been into the pits for a second time, but if your math is correct, it will need to come in again to fulfill the requirement of a second 3-minute pit stop.
Or they could take the penalty.
They could, but the penalty's got to be bigger than 3 minutes, isn't it? So
it's quite likely to check them out to see what it is. But it would be based on how short they stopped and a bit more.
So they
so
don't
it might not be as bad as taking the full.
No, that's true. Generally, with short pit stops, they tend to just double how much you missed it by. That seems to be the general rule of thumb in some of the other series that I've been seeing. But we can see Joel Oswick back out on track here, and he has come out behind the Mazda MX-5 that he was battling with, which is surprising because he was ahead of it when he came into when they both came in to the pits. But maybe we'll see a little bit later how that checks out. They've come out quite far behind actually, which would rather back up your theory, Ian, of the Mazda doing a short stop. But we'll get confirmation when it gets over the timing line in a few seconds' time, just how far behind the Mazda is. And he is a good 50 odd seconds, 55 seconds maybe even, behind the Henderson Irving Mazda. And bear in mind, James Collins was ahead of that car when they both came into the pits.
I was just wondering when the Dylan Bripton car is going to come in. It's just been through the complex behind our commentary.
It's like it can run forever.
Well, I'm quite impressed. It's gone for an hour and 26 minutes. We had a little bit of safety car running in that, but surely it's got down for the pit lane soon. But not this lap. Screwed past our commentary once again, being passed by Kevin Clark, who unlaps himself effectively once. No, so he was 2 laps behind. He's now 1 and 99 behind at the moment, but of course has made a stop, one of his 2 mandatory stops already. 35 to probably to go for the ex-Proton Coupe Cup after one was a Proton one-night championship briefly a decade or so ago.
Coming up to the final hour of this race very shortly. The way it is panning out at the moment is we're actually still waiting to see where the Browse car comes out in relation to everything, and it's like it knows I'm talking about it. It's the second time that managed to have that car come out when I mentioned it.
By the medium of mime, I think that Tom Butchell has managed to convey that it's raining. I think that's what he was saying.
Okay.
But yes, there are rain spots on the commentary box window. Not many of them, granted.
A few,
but they are there.
Very light, thin smatterings against the glass. And, well, I'll tell you what, this has been a threat all weekend long. I've seen about 20 different weather reports for this weekend. Some of them included rain. Some of them said it was going to be dry all the way through. Some of them said it was going to be an absolute washout.
It doesn't feel, looking at the skies, like this is going to be very much rain.
No, it's overcast, don't get me wrong, but they don't look like the most ominous clouds I've ever seen. And I actually could see it on the camera there. That was a visible. Into the pits has come the number 6 Audi TT, our race leader, finally, after an hour and a half almost of running, has come in to make his first stop. So we're going to be interested to see where he comes out in relation to the rest of the field, because it looks like we're finally going to get some sort of order in the next 2 laps. We'll be able to give you a fairly definitive order, minus the 2 cars that have served their second stops.
Joel Oswick has just done the best lap of the race, 1:26.732 on what have been one of his first laps back out of the pits, won't it?
Yeah, it must have been the first flying one, because he's just come across the line again with the 28.3.
Yeah, so he's certainly got in the car and immediately gone very quickly, and we'll see how all of this shakes out. Having made 2 stops, the only car that... Well, you've got the Moore and Dennis car. Now, that must have served some kind of penalty, because that's now made 2 stops as well.
I think it's currently in the pits.
Is it in the pit lane?
Is it not? I believe it is. Because, I can see it. So,
the rear end of a Civic.
Yeah. And, I mean, that is the Class C leader.
Okay, so that should drop down.
As well, so it will drop down. Yeah. The closest car, really, that's made its second stop is the number 90 Mazda that we were talking about. We still don't quite think that that's made a legal stop. But great pace from the JC Racing car. All calm at Darkside, which it has not been in this race so far on the other side of the garage, so to speak.
No, well it is now, because the car retired from the race, so there's not much more they can do. But it's going to be Ryan Parker getting in for the final hour of the race, taking over from Dylan Victor, just getting the car on the jack. It looks like they're changing the wheel. Maybe you can see the treaded tyres that they run on in Club Enduro, so no slips or anything like that. I think that's steam rather than anything else that's out of the engine bay.
Must be so annoying trying to change the tyre while the car is moving up on the jacks, because they don't go up evenly. It goes up one side, then the jerks up on the other. But that'll be Ryan Parkin getting aboard the car now. Scott's twin brother. He's got to carry the family honours now in that car. And we were talking about this in qualifying. The number 6 car is slightly less sophisticated than the number 1. It's got a normal H pattern gearbox rather than the sequential one, and different suspension. They seem to be preferring the suspension, the Olin suspension that's on the number 1.
Just trying to work it out. As the 90 car comes in for
A third time.
third stop. Now, is this going to be another issue? They're getting the refueling kits out now, so it looks like this is a scheduled stop this time.
Wow.
There's the 195 car, the Sam Dennis and Ash Royal car towards the Class C. They're completing their second pit stop. They seem to put it there for a while now, don't they? They should be back out on their way very soon, one would think.
Just think, for this number 90 car, I mean, reliability was its Achilles heel last year, wasn't it? It was very fast, and it seems like it's struck once again, because they've had podium contending pace all day, but that extra trip to the pits might have just cost them dearly.
Yeah, possibly so. So it looks like they're getting ready to push the 195 car out just as soon as, they've had the signal, 3 minutes is up.
Yep.
And we can get the car back into place. I was just about to muse, if you're Ryan parking, and you're going to hopefully, bring the car home with a successful result, and you're clearly going to beat your brother, your twin brother, because he's retired, but you're also the co-director of Darkside Developments. Do you feel happy that you've sort of had a good result, or do you feel sad for your brother that he's not had such a good result? And then you think, it's championship points, isn't it?
Well, yes, that is true. I'd be aware that my rival has had an issue, but I don't know. I kind of also just acknowledge the performance differences between the two cars.
Yes, absolutely.
Quite a hefty update from Tom in the pit lane, who reports that there are still drops of rain in the pit lane. Doesn't seem to be causing too much trouble out on the track at the moment, but also reports that the number 25 car, Darren Ball's Cupra, which was running inside the top 10 if memory serves me correctly. But that car has had to retire because something has punctured the radiator and it's lost water pressure as a result. So some bit of debris or maybe a bit of gravel or something, or some sort of detritus that's been brought onto the track and into the path of that number 25 car has caused Darren Ball to retire from the race. Great shame for him.
Yeah, absolutely right. Oh, an issue! Michael Downey and Johnny Hayes and Paul Cipriani seem to have fallen over one another at the complex there. Michael Downey in the orange box are still stranded on the grass there. Hayes and Cipriani, BMW, that's just got going again, and so too now is the number 76 car of Downey as well. So, often a bit of mud on the track. The circuit now clear again, but that's unusual to see something like that happen in the Tagiwa Club Enduro Championship. Whether there was any contact, I suspect there might have been a little bit. I'm not quite sure.
Well, that's Michael Downey's day going from bad to worse, because he was already plumb last of the runners we still had, has now had contact with the Cipriani car and coming into pit lane as well. That is probably for its second stop. It might just get that one out of the way now. So we still have the Audi into pit lane, by the way, but it has fallen into third position, which means that Kevin Clark is back in the lead of the race.
It does feel like a long stop for Dylan Crichton.
It feels like a very long stop now, doesn't it? But my sense of time might not be too fantastic, because I also thought that the Mazda pit stop was fine earlier as well. But hopefully it's not issues on both Darkside development cars. That would be quite a disappointment. Jonathan Packer has also emerged in fourth position overall now, and is on the back of the Schultz-Hampson BMW M2 number 69 car for potentially spot on the overall podium. And lapping very similarly at the moment.
There's Kevin Clark on screen now in the number 33 car, so he is the leader at the moment. Let's just give a quick run down on the order. I'll see how many stops people have made. 33 Kevin Clark leads, he's made one stop. 22 Luke and Paul Browers are second, having made one stop. Third 69 Andy Schultz, Matthew Hampson, they've made 1 stop. 4th is number 51, Jonathan Packer, leads Class B, 1 stop. 5th, 82, Ben Williams and Alec Iyengar, 1 stop. 6th, number 78, Matthew Stockford, Alan James, that's 1 stop. 7th, number 6, still in the pit lane, I think.
Yeah.
Dylan Pritchard and Ryan Parkin, as they have been for a long time now, so maybe neither of the Darkside development cars going to finish. But they are there, 1 stop so far. 8th, number 4, Joel Oswick, James Collins. They've made 2 stops, the first of the 2 stoppers. 9th, number 10 in the pits at the moment. The Rob Fennick, Andrew Shepherd car, that's 2 stops. And then next up, completing the top 10, is the 43 car of Steve Cheetham and Wayne Schofield. Second in Class B as things stand. But still, pit stops to shake out in the remaining 39 minutes before the pit window closes.
Yes, but it does look like we have some sort of sense of an order now, don't we?
Yeah, the Payson Spione car we saw off the circuit a few minutes ago, that is the Class C medium car, albeit they've only made 1 stop and their 2 strikers have made 2 stops, so I suspect they will fall back behind Sam Dennison and Ashmore for much longer.
Yeah, they're only 6 seconds behind that car, having made their 2nd stop. So yeah, I would suggest that they are probably going to jump them at some point. And finally, the Dylan Brichter and Ryan Parker car has emerged back onto the racetrack.
Yeah, we'll perhaps be able to hear a little bit more from Tom or one of the team members at the moment, because that did seem like an extraordinarily long stop.
Yeah, and it's come out, well, it's at best 9th, 10th. It's continuing to drop down the order.
And they've got another stop to make, of course.
Yeah, like that, yeah, it does seem like they were in there for a very, very, very long time and not emerging in the position that we expected them to. So, yeah, it's very much Kevin Clark's lead at the moment. This is the number 10 Speed Tech BMW M2 that's coming for its 2nd stop, and the 76 Michael Downey car that's coming after it had that bit of contact down at the complex.
Yeah, they didn't make that into a mandatory stop though, did they? They did some refuelling that Boxster.
Yeah, looks of it. Jonathan Packer, his lead in Class B is very, very substantial. Possibly even nearly 2 laps ahead of the Cheetham Schofield Boxster number 43. And yes, this is where we expect the Ashmore and Sam. In Class C when our current Class C leader. Now 6 coming back into the pits to do its 2nd stop.
Either that or say, hang on, the problem that I've got at that first pit stop, I'll just need checking over again. But they'll certainly probably try and make this into their 2nd mandatory stop, but it's not looking particularly good for Darkside developments today.
No, it isn't. And yes, they're just getting the update from Tom downstairs as well. Hopefully they'll be able to find out if there were any issues on that car. Now, this is 69 and 82. This is a battle for position between the Schultz-Hampson number 69 BMW M2 racing car that is currently in 3rd position, but just in front of the 82 Ben Williams and Alec Iyengar Capture Motorsport Seat Leon Cupra. So they're squabbling for the last spot on the podium at the moment. They've just cleared Jonathan Packer's Class B car, which was for position overall. Such has been the performance of Jonathan Packer so far in this race. But this is the battle for the last spot on the podium as it stands, with these guys some 40 seconds almost behind the Paul and Luke Browse Seat Leon Cupra that's in 2nd place, number 22 machine. So this is the battle for 3rd position.
Just a word on the Browse. I mean, that's a good effort from them, because they're getting used to this front-wheel drive Cupra for the first time, having had a rear-wheel drive BMW. Previously.
I think was it Luke yesterday who was saying that he had pretty much burnt through the front tyres in his first stint in the Road Sports race, which is considerably shorter than this race that we have today. So yes, a very good effort there. Hoods off the number 6 car again. And once again, they don't seem to be in much of a hurry to get that car back out, do they?
It's feeling like it could be a terminal issue again for Darkside here, which would be a great pity. The team's body language doesn't suggest a great deal of urgency about their operations.
We believe it's Matthew Hampson at the wheel of the 82, don't we? Because Andy Schultz started the car and they've only done one stop. So currently in 4th position. And sorry, do excuse me, I'm getting them mixed up. But it did look like the BMW was getting past there, and indeed it was, because the 82 car has gone through into 3rd place. So that could be Alec Iyengar in that car. Again, made one stop, and it was Ben Williams who started it, wasn't it? But either way, that car now into 3rd position.
Yeah, absolutely right. So we are into the last 50 minutes of this Diagnostics Club Enduro Championship race here at Croft. We are going to head down to the pit lane for an update from Tom Butterworth.
So I'm just down in the pit lane having a look at the Darkside Developments car, this number 6. It looks fairly terminal at the moment, but yeah, in fact, I've just had the old cutthroat symbol from the signal from one of the drivers, who's yeah, it looks pretty terminal here. I was told that it was overheating issues that they were having. They went back to try and manage the issue. They were trying to manage the overheating issue. Went back out, did a lap. It was still, the temperature was still going up, and he was told to manage it with pace and clean air and things like that, but it just wasn't working out, so they brought it back in. They're going to try and cool it down. Maybe they'll go back out, but unlikely at the moment. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Tom. So, not a good day for Darkside Developments. One or another, the gearbox issues on the number 1 car and the overheating issues on the number 6 car. So Ryan Parkin really didn't get much of a run, did he, today? Dylan Brichter driving for an hour and a half, and by the time Ryan got into the car, well, it was overheating, and he couldn't sustain any number of laps, unfortunately.
Such a surprise, because they've been one of the front-running teams in this championship for a couple of years now, and genuinely fairly bulletproof as well. Very rare to see both their cars falling out of the race.
Yeah.
Now, the number 69 car, which, yes, we believe it's Matt Hampson at the wheel, don't we, of the BMW M2. Yes. Having just lost 3rd position, now looks like it's not fully secured in 4th position overall as well, because the Class B leader, Jonathan Packer, is still hounding the back of that car and might fancy a run through. Packer having spent so much of this race having his, well, the early part of this race anyway, having his mirrors full of his Class B rivals, now on the attack against a Class A car.
Yeah, and last lap he was more than a second faster than Hampson in the BMW, and so it's not unreasonable to expect that he could make a move. I guess the difficulty would be the BMW might be a bit quicker in a straight line, so he's got to really try and take advantage of places like this, really, the twistier parts of the circuit, because I suspect down, yeah, you can already see accelerating away from the hairpin down towards Clervaux, the advantage is going to stretch, isn't it? And
look at that.
Hampson is going to be, I don't know, well, a lot of car lengths ahead by the time they turn in to Clervaux. So really it's going to be through the slower parts of the circuit, the twistier parts of the circuit, where Packer is going to have to try and make his move. Of course, he's got no real need to, because points in the Club Enduro Championship scored within your class, and he's leading his class at the moment.
Yes, and they also go to an overall championship as well. So, you know, we were talking about Scott Parkin being the overall champion. He won it in a Class B car.
Yeah, so really there's no particular motivation for, other than sort of pride and getting an overall top, best result you can, to try and pass a Class A car when you're in Class B. Maybe there's something to do, just bring it home safely.
Especially when the BMW has such a clear performance advantage on the straight.
Yeah.
He'd have to get inventive, he'd have to get risky to try and make that move. There's no point trying to damage his car for very little material gain.
And the other consideration is that there's no real threat behind Packer of any great note.
That is an understatement.
It's
Let
a
me
long
tell you,
way
because I do genuinely think there is a lap between the top two in Class B. Our second place car has just come into the pits. It's the Browse car, and that is for its second stop.
Yeah, so they've made both of their stops in fairly quick succession. They're quite late making their first stop as well. A reminder that all teams do have to make their stops with before 15 minutes from the end of the race. That's only half an hour from now.
Yeah, so the message at the top of the pit window is closed is not quite correct, unless there's some other exterior reason that we've not been made aware of just yet. But yeah, as far as we're concerned, it remains open until there's 15 minutes left to go. So still half an hour left for these guys to make their second stops, which these guys there, Luke and Paul Browse, are doing now. They're one of many TCR spec cars that we had in the field today, going up against the BMWs and the Genettas and GT4 cars. Yeah, communication between, obviously it's a hands-off situation. You saw he had his hands up in the air just to show that he wasn't actually touching the car while it was being refueled. There are a number of safety regulations that go on because this isn't top flight GT racing where we've got very quick refueling rigs and very highly well trained mechanics, because we are at the amateur level. We have to make sure that everything is done safely and securely. Just noticed there's a 5-door. Very rare to see a 5-door in these cars, because it's popped open the back door.
90 into the pits again. The Alan Henderson, Dan Irving. That's his fourth stop now. So I think that is poorly, shall we say?
Yes.
And probably not really get a feature. I mean, it's classified 11th at the moment. 5 laps adrift of Kevin Clark, who's still got a stop to make in this race. But a car that showed very much promise in the early stages of this race, and if they actually driven it straight into the garage this time, I think they may have done.
Jonathan Packer somehow has managed to get momentum on the M2 BMW and has actually cleared it. Now we saw the BMW had a performance advantage in a straight line, so maybe that's a poorly and limping BMW we're seeing now. And also the 78 car is not too far behind of Alan James, we believe that is at the wheel of the Audi RS3.
Yeah, so it could be that the Schultz and Hampson car has hit one or two problems. There are a few reliability issues for a few cars here today in this opening meeting of the season. Into the pits comes the 43 car, which is Steve Cheetham. This is for his second stop, so that's the Steve Cheetham Wayne Gofield Porsche number 43, the Boxster 3.4 litre Boxster.
Of course, what this does mean is that we've got a Class B car on the overall podium now as well. And yes, Alan James has cleared the BMW behind, so I do think that we might see that car come into the pit shortly, because it must have some sort of problem to be running this slowly. In fact, it has peeled to the right-hand side now, coming into pit lane. Just check where it is on its number of stops. This is its second stop, so if they can do this in around 3 minutes, they can class this as one of their mandatory stops. It just depends on whether it's an issue that can be resolved in a quick succession.
Got a message that the 316 car has gone behind the barriers. Well, it's a long race. I suppose you've got to go wherever you can in these races. But it looks like that car is out of the race. That was the car for this race shared by Ivor Mayers and Stephen Kay. 41 minutes left to go. There is Kevin Clark still in the lead on the timing screens. Still with a stop to make, but I think looking in a pretty good position for what will be a dramatic overall result from the pit lane. He was disqualified from qualifying because the Intersport Racing prepared car was found to be underweight. Here's the Hampson and Schultz car that we thought might have just been in trouble. Just looks like they're planning on doing a driver change. There's Hampton, you can see with the black overalls on, and it's Andy Schultz getting back into the car. So maybe he was just having a slow lap back into the pits.
Potentially. Maybe even, maybe short on fuel. Maybe is a potential solution. I'm just looking at if anyone can challenge Clark. Of course, the Oswick Collins BMW has done its second stop, and right now it's the only car that can match and even go faster than Clark's BMW. So worth keeping an eye on where Clark's comes out relative to the number 4 machine when it serves its second stop, because right now it is the lead car that has done both of its stops, but that is not many of them.
There's Oswick out in the number 4 car, 5th on the timing screens at the moment. Last lap, a 1:27.03, only 0.3 of a second off his best. So Joel Oswick still pushing on. He's a really quick young driver.
And the leader doing 28.4, so he is lapping quicker than our race leader. So maybe the fairy tale of pit lane start to race win is not quite so secure yet for Kevin Clark. Of course, we've already been denied a bit of a fairy tale today, haven't we, in the low-cost race. Paul Clark sadly expiring on his way from the back of the grid. Yes, maybe there can be a little bit of redemption for Kevin Clark. I mean, even to finish second would be something quite spectacular. Maybe we can make time to hear from him, actually, because we normally only hear from the class winners, but such an extraordinary drive, I think, might deserve a slight bending of the rule. And we haven't got to cut to anything else after this race as well, have we? So we've got the time, may as well use it.
Yeah, see if we can grab him, or grab whoever. There's the Michael Downey car that's back in the pit lane.
That was Joel Oswick there, just catching up to the 22, was it not? The Browse car, but as far as I can tell, it shouldn't have been that close together on the road.
Well, they're together.
Must have been putting
on
a lap
circuit.
on it.
Well, Oswick's 3 laps down, and Browse's 6 laps down, or was previously. They're just going to come across the line now, and they're now respectively 2 and 5 laps.
Okay, I thought they'd be closer than that, because obviously we were just seeing that the green TCR make its second stop, but clearly Oswick's got quite a bit in hand.
Yeah, another lap in the 127s that time through, a 127.8.
And Clark even slower, 130.3 for our race leader last time around. Obviously, traffic is playing a part in this as well as just raw speed. But this number 4 BMW is the fastest car on track at the moment.
That's right, with 37 minutes remaining. Fascinating conclusion to this race in prospect.
And the car that was in 3rd position overall, just coming in to make its second stop, which is the number 78 Alan James Matthew Stopford Audi R8 LMS3. That had been in the pits not too long ago, hadn't it? But I would imagine it's Stopford getting back on board the car. It's relatively close to us in the pit lane, actually, but actually not a lot of action going on there at the moment. So we'll see where that comes out eventually as Joel Oswick ticks off another lap.
And there is Kevin Clark, and he's just coming up to put another lap on the 97 car, which is the Dave Conn, Alex Wilkinson Hughes Mazda MX-5, still running second in Class C to Ashmore and Samuel Dennis. But there's Kevin Clark. Bishon had a big accident at Alton Park a couple of years ago in another BMW. But there he goes, past the little MX-5, and surprisingly,
I think that was the 2022 title concluding race, was it not? Because
yes.
I remember I was there, and it was quite an aggressive spear into the barriers.
It was a huge shunt.
I think it was one that ironically won him the race, because obviously they bring out the red flags and it rolled back a lap the results. So
that's right.
he may have crashed, but he did still win the race, although it did take him a while to extricate him from the car, if I remember rightly.
Now, how is Tidmarsh and Webster getting on? I mean, they're still in 6th overall, aren't they, still, despite the various dramas that they've had during the course of this race, and second in Class B. I mean, there's a lap or so between them and the class leader, Jonathan Packer.
Yeah, that seems to be. But yeah, 6th overall, as you mentioned, and certainly quicker than a lot of the Class A cars, as he's about to put another lap on the number 10 Fenwick Shepherd BMW M2 that is currently 10th overall, and he's some 2 laps ahead of that car now, or 1 lap ahead of it, actually, I should say. Looking very good out there at the moment. See so much more speed in the middle of sunny in, sunny out because of the lighter car, and just absolutely drives straight by him in the middle of the double right-hander. So lots of speed in that number 8 machine. We are 35 minutes from the checkered flag now, so we are almost 2 hours in to our 2.5 hour endurance race, our longest race of the year. Remember, we'd be almost coming up to the checkered flag now in a sort of typically lengthed race.
Yeah, and it's one extreme to the other, because it's only a 75-minute race for the next round of the championship at Brands Hatch on the Grand Prix circuit.
I'll tell you what I haven't mentioned actually yet is that the fastest lap of the race from Joel Oswick and James Collins, which I believe was Joel Oswick lap, his 26.7 is a new Club Enduro lap record. It beats Will Stacey's 27.11 from last year. I'm almost wondering if perhaps Jonathan Packer has been able to beat the Scott Parkin lap record. No, he hasn't. So we will ignore that one. But in terms of the Class A, we have got another new lap record. That's the 3rd one to be set this weekend, I believe, adding to the Road Sports and the Low Cost, which was beaten 3 times.
And did we not get a lap record in Classics.catch as well?
Oh, we did, yes. So it's the 4th one, didn't we? Yes, of course.
Yeah.
That much to Paul Thorpe's surprise. And Pip Hammond's as well.
Yeah, absolutely right. So there's Jonathan Packer pushing on in that number 51 car, been a regular in Club Enduro for the last couple of seasons. But let's head down to the pit lane once again. Tom Butterworth has got another interview for us.
And in the garage with Matthew Stockford, one of the drivers of the 78. Matthew, race going okay so far? We've just done your 2nd pit stop now, so he's double stinted. Everything going okay?
Yeah, all good so far. Car's running really well. It's just starting to rain a little bit, but hopefully the track won't get too wet. So yeah, Alan's making good progress, good pace. Very happy.
Great stuff. It sounds good. It seems to be a bit of a race of attrition. It's going to be who gets to the end without any problems, I think, at the moment.
It's a bit like that. 2.5 hours is a long time. First race of the season. So I certainly felt it. It was a race of attrition for me towards the end of my stint. I was absolutely exhausted, so I need to get in the gym.
Yeah, I know the feeling. So we're driving here with hand controls as well. Just walk me through a little bit of the technicalities, really, of it, of how the throttle differs, how the brakes differ compared to actually pressing a pedal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really simple system, actually. So the gears, it's a DSG gearbox, so that just works on the paddles as normal. And then I've just got a bar that I pull effectively to accelerate, and you push the same bar to brake, so pull to accelerate, push to brake. There's a slight disadvantage there in so much that you can't be heel and towing, braking and keeping the revs up. And there's that extra sort of pause between as you come off the accelerator onto the brake, but it's a good simple system that won't go wrong. So I'm getting better.
Okay, well that's good to hear. Yeah, I mean with a DSG box, you kind of heel and towing's kind of out the window anyway, isn't it? But yeah, it's
sort of, but you can still maintain your revs and and be on the brake. It's a far quicker process switching between the two, which isn't the same with the hand controls.
Okay, but the race is obviously going well. I mean, whereabouts are you positioned at the moment?
When I last looked just then, we were 4th.
Okay.
I'm not sure whether we dropped any during that pit stop, but and Alan was making good progress. So we'll see. A top 5 finish for us will be a cracker for the first race.
Great stuff. Well, fingers crossed we'll be interviewing you again on the podium later.
Hopefully, yeah.
Great stuff. Thanks very much, Matthew. Thanks for talking to us. Back to you.
So Jonathan Packer continuing to circle in his Class B leading VW Golf. And we can take a look at the standings. And I was going to give you an update on the Clubman Cup cars, which is for the pre-2010 H-pattern gearbox cars, which is being led by our Class C leader in the 195 Motion Motorsport Honda Civic. That is Sam Dennis and Ash Moore, currently circulating in 11th position overall, but we've got a slow-moving number 22 Seat.
Yeah, the Browse car, Luke Browse, Paul Browse, is going slowly along the start and finish straight. It's being passed by a number of cars on the way down into Clervaux Corner. That was the car that was in 8th position there. You see it on screen now, and it looks like possibly the game up for that car, which has gone pretty strongly for the first 2 hours of this race. And had it been a 2-hour race, it might have secured a decent finishing position, but sadly still another 30 minutes to go from the point of view of the Stowmarket Glass entered Paul Browse and Luke Browse. Looks like their race may be run.
And it had just taken 8th position as well. And I'll tell you what, we might also have some problems for the 55 Simpson Stanton car, because that's just dropped 2 positions on the timing order. It might yet drop more, and it's not in the pit lane, is it? There is a BMW in pit lane.
I think that's the Philip Shepherd car that's in at the moment. Possibly.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Wait, yes, that is true, because it's not giving me the little symbol to tell me that it's in pit lane at the moment. So potential dramas for the GT4 car.
Matthew Stockford and Alan James, they're 7th at the moment. Matthew was saying he was 4th at last time we looked, but I think they did lose some ground in the pit stop. So that car's 7th at the moment, but there are cars ahead of them that have still to make a second stop, including the race leader Kevin Clark. But I think he's sort of 5 laps ahead. Ben Williams and Alakoyenga are 3 laps ahead of the Stockford and James car. The one that they might sort of get it back ahead of is Jonathan Packard, but he's in the Class C car anyway. There's Alan James in the number 78 Audi, which looks absolutely magnificent, doesn't it?
Doesn't it just?
Turns its way out of the head with that big wing on the back as well. And certainly it's, touch wood from their point of view, looking pretty robust in the course of this race, where not all the cars have been. Some of them have been a little bit fragile.
Kevin Clark, race leader, into the pit lane for the second time. This is the decisive stop, so we will keep an eye out on the position of Joel Oswick's JC Racing BMW, because that is currently the top car that has done both of its pit stops. And for the last quite a length of time, maybe the last half hour or so, it has been lapping quicker than Clark's car. You see the smoking brakes there on the front end. We could be looking at a change of lead here, even though Kevin Clark has driven absolutely magnificently, having started from the pit lane and worked his way up the order to lead much of this race. We are going to see where he's going to emerge. You can see the work going on, the refueling there, the extinguisher being ready. Of course, it's all hands off the car while the refueling is going on.
That's right. And now that refueling is done, so
now Kevin can get back in the car.
He can. There's the Browse car in as well.
Yes. Oh,
that's
good.
Close,
okay. Well, that was a heart in mouth moment there for Joel Oswick.
It's for position. It's for second position on the road, and it'll be perhaps possibly the lead on the road, depending on how the Kevin Clark stop works out.
Yes, that 82 car yet to do its second stop, but for position, as you say there. So Joel Oswick getting up to second on the road, and may well be about to take the lead. But of course, he was 2 laps down on the race leader, so he's got to make up a second one. So it won't be at this pass that he takes the lead, if indeed he will take the lead of the race. So one more tour and we'll find out what's going to happen.
It's going to be pretty close, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, I'd have thought so.
Between the two of them, Kevin Clark and Joel Oswick. So yeah, it's just the 82 car of Ben Williams Alakoyenga that they've gone past, as Chris says. That does need to make its remaining stop, whereas Oswick has, and now Kevin Clark has as well. So Oswick needs to just push on here and try and get and he has got a fairly clean lap ahead of him. There's a couple of cars he'll get, I think, before the end of the lap, but a good quick lap here is what he needs to try and minimise the gap between himself and Kevin Clark, who are just looking to look to the left of our commentary box, is still very much in pit lane at the moment. I'm sure they'll be keeping an eye on exactly where Joel is as well out on circuit. You can see the team in the pit lane. They're ready to start pushing Kevin's car back into the race again, showing him the countdown clock as it goes to 3 minutes, and knowing when they can release the car back into the circuit. The officials checking the stops. There's a scrutineer there as well to ensure that all is well with the technicalities of the car. Meanwhile, not looking quite such a calm scene for Luke and Paul Browse. So look there, they're still ticking down. Where's Joel Oswick? He's just coming through the complex now. Here he is on screen. They've still not started pushing Kevin Clark's car back. He's at the hairpin now, is Joel Oswick. He's going to be accelerating away. He's going to take the lead of the race here because Kevin Clark is still in the they're pushing him back now, but Joel Oswick has gone through. And Joel Oswick now is he on the lead? I think he is, because only leaving the pit lane now is Kevin Clark.
Yeah, we'll get confirmation when he goes over the timing line, but we think that is Joel Oswick into the lead of the race now. He was, put it 3 minutes behind when he went over the timing line.
Let's just check it out because it's when they do come through next time.
Jonathan Packer, meanwhile, Class B leader and third overall, coming in for his second stop. So that's that'll be his last stop, and it's been an incredible race for Jonathan Packer so far. 22 car looks like it's ready to go back out because they've pushed it back into the fast lane. Well, actually, they're pushing it forward now, so maybe they're pushing it out of harm's way.
They're going to push it into the garage, I think, ultimately.
Yeah, they are. We're going to push it backwards in. I mean, I'd have kept it forward so that we're not obstructing the the fast lane, but nothing coming through at the moment, so no harm, no foul.
So there's Joel Oswick at the complex once again in the number 4 JC Racing. Quite plain dark green livery on that car, isn't it? Nothing flashy.
Yeah, nothing in the way of sponsorship either, so it's not too supported. And this is confirmation, the retirement of the number 22 Paul and Luke Browse Seat Leon TCR.
Right, Joel
Oswick over the line and is now leading this race. Confirmation on the timing, and also that Kevin Clark has fallen behind the 82,
which is yet to make
machine.
It stop.
But yes, good point there. So Ben Williams and Alec Iyengar was Seat Leon.
Over the line, Kevin Clark has gone and he's 21 seconds behind with 23 minutes remaining, so he's got to make up a second a minute basically to try and win this race. Best laps that they've done, Oswick a 126.732, Clark a 127.326, and although those times are anagrams of one another, that's not going to give Kevin Clark any succor, I don't think.
The problem was that Joel was just lapping so much quicker than Kevin for such a long time, wasn't he? So I would be surprised if Kevin came out now and started lapping quicker than Joel, but we'll see. Late safety car might bring a little bit of drama. Of course, we've only got 7 minutes left of the driver or the pit stop window now. So drivers yet to make their second stop as Joel Oswick has to navigate a little bit of traffic here in the complex. Does include our second place car, the number 82 Seat. Also the car that is currently third in Class C, Matthew Simonite and James Mansell Mazda MX-5, which is currently in 14th position, although that has literally just come into pit lane. And that's it. Everyone else that only has a 1 next to their name in their pit stop window has retired from the race. So literally just the second place car left, and they've got 7 minutes exactly now to do so.
Yeah, Kevin Clark's just going to cross the line again, and he has narrowed the gap by 0.6 of a second to the race. Not as much as he needed to, but he's not given up. I was going to say, well, possibly Joel Oswick will have age on his side. He's probably about a third of the age of Kevin Clark. He's still only 21. Is Joel? He was a winner of the John Miles Award for the most promising young driver in the 750 most club a couple of years ago when he had the success in Class C in the championship. As Kevin Clark's been around a few decades now. Let's head back down to the pit lane. Tom Butterworth is there once again for another interview.
Yeah, so we've just seen the 51 come in and do their second pit stop, and we're just being ushered out of the way slightly. So we'll just head down the pit lane and just out the way of this car that's going to come in now. But yeah, the 51 doing its second stop. Everything cool as a cucumber. Straight back in, straight back out again. Nice and smooth, and everything went to plan. I've just had an update from the 22 as well. It looked like it was an electrical issue for that car. They tried to get it back out and tried to restart it, and it just wouldn't fire. So Diagnostics underway, but they're done for the day as well, unfortunately. That's the 22 out of the race.
Thanks, Tom. Good to get those updates from you. There's a black and orange mechanical warning flag being shown to one of the cars there. Couldn't obviously see the numbers, trying to work out whether we've got 2 digits or 3 in the number. But Ben Williams and Alak Oyenga are now in for their second mandatory stop with just over 5 minutes to spare.
Yep, that car getting serviced now. And yeah, our team on site will be able to bring you those pictures very shortly. But that is the last car to make its second mandatory stop, and that will promote Kevin Clark to second position overall when he eventually crosses the timing line once again. Here is that number 33 black and red machine that will now be in second position, but still chasing Joel Oswick. Last time around they were pretty similar in terms of lap times, both doing a 27.7.
Right, that's the reason for the black and orange mechanical warning flag. The exhaust is dragging from the rear of the Ivor Mayers and Stephen Kay.
Oh yes.
BMW 325 Ti compact. So that's why the officials want to bring that into the pit lane to get that repaired and back out on circuit, hopefully for the remainder of the race.
Number 8, Tidmarsh Webster, Janetta back in pit lane for some reason.
Well, that's their second scheduled stop, isn't it? Because although they've been in pit lane twice previously, one of those was for a penalty.
Yes, good point. I've forgotten about that.
Yeah, so that's the reason for that. We've got the 169 car that's going back out into the race. That's going to be the teammate of Matt Simonite, James Mansell, for the remaining part of the race as well, because he was double stinting to the end. There's the 82 car being refueled of Ben Williams and Alak Oyenga. Capture Motorsport car, Capture teaming quite a few cars in the Club Enduro Championship this season, based in the Midlands. And yep, frantic work being done because they want to get as the best position overall that they can do. I think they'll slip off the podium positions with this stop, but nevertheless a promising run. The 316 car of Mayers and Kay is now into the pit lane as well, so that exhaust to be examined and repaired.
And that's a car that's been in the wars so far this weekend. It retired quite late from the road sports race yesterday with its front wheels pointing in 2 different directions. Yeah, now this mechanical warning flag with the exhaust hanging off it. I mean, it's not the worst problem to have. At least the wheels are still pointing in the right direction. Jonathan Packer here, now currently second in Class B, but that is because the Tidmarsh Webster car hadn't served its second mandatory pit stop, the 3-minute one, just yet. So although it shows that car 4th overall and in the Class B lead, Jonathan Packer about to take that back again. Yeah. And as somebody who's been absolutely dominant in that class today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it wasn't always the case, but the first half hour it was quite lively, wasn't it?
It was absolutely fantastic battle with 2 other cars, yes.
Yeah, three-way battle it was for the class lead.
Including the number 8,
yeah.
who was right up there with Packer in the early stages of the race. Kevin Clark here in second position overall.
And losing time now to Joel Oswick. It's the gap to about 23 seconds, so it's going in the wrong direction for him.
Yes, he was 1.7 seconds slower than Joel Oswick last time around. So sliding the back end of that BMW out of Tower Bend. So maybe Kevin just had a couple of clear laps and Joel was in traffic. Maybe we won't know for certain, but yeah, it's not quite going in the direction it needs to go in as it stands.
Just lapping the Class C leader there, the 195 car of Ashmore and Samuel Dennis. Just looking at the sort of other positions within that class, it's still Conor Wilkinson Hughes in the Mazda MX-5, second in that class in the number 97 car, and Johnny Hayes and Paul Supiani third in Class C at the moment in number 66. But we're watching Kevin Clark here, who with 16 minutes of the race left to go, the pit window about to be closed, although I don't think there's anyone probably now to take a second mandatory stop. We're really in the final knock-ins of this race now, and it's looking like it's Joel Oswick's race to lose really from here, because the gap remains at around about 23 seconds between first and second, and they are quite a long way clear now of anybody else, as in laps clear.
Yes.
Rather than seconds or minutes, we're measuring it in laps.
Yeah, there's quite a few between the top two and the rest of the field, isn't there? In between third and fourth as well. So, yeah, it's a great start to the season so far for Joel Oswick and James Collins. Obviously, Joel Oswick moving across from the German Auto Works team that he raced for the 2 prior seasons and won the Class C title with them in 2022. Moved into Class A with them last year, but now joining the JC Racing squad alongside James Collins. This is their repair work on the 316 car, having been brought in for a mechanical, although it doesn't look like it's quite fixed just yet. But yep, new team, new car, new environment for Joel Oswick, and right now they're not only leading, they've done the lap record as well. So I'd call that a decent day's work.
Yeah, absolutely. And now the pit window is closed. It was the message was displayed a little prematurely earlier, but it is now officially closed because the 15-minute to go mark has been reached in this race. So now it's just about playing out to the end, reliability. I don't think we're going to see any changes in Class A or Class B. And what's the gap between first and second in Class C? Well, again, it's it's 1 lap, isn't it, I think, between the first 2 cars there. So it's about reliability at this stage of the race and just making sure you can bring your car home.
And it does look like the 82 has been able to hang on to a podium position. So as it stands with 14 minutes to go, it's Joel Oswick and James Collins aboard the number 4 JC Racing BMW, leading by 22 or 23 seconds.
Well, you say they're going to keep the podium position, but they're only 1.3 seconds clear of Schultz and Hampson. Now, with Andy Schultz back at the wheel.
I'm all meant in terms of where it's going to hang out in terms of the pit stops. Yes, Kevin Clark in second position, but definitely a battle to be had the closing stages of the race for third position overall between the number 82 Ben Williams and Alec Iango Capture Motorsports Seat.
But let's head down to the pits
69.
and Tom Butterworth.
Just keeping an eye out because it's still a very active pit lane here. There are still cars coming in and out, even though there's only a few minutes left in the race. I just wanted to give you a quick update on the number 8 that's just been in. They think they may be pinged here for a too short a pit stop, or they might have already been pinged, but not happening. As you can probably see behind me, there's a few discussions taking place and some gravel as well. So they've had some excursions. It's been an exciting race for them all around, but yeah, just wanted to give you a quick update. They think that was their second mandatory pit stop and their 3-minute pit stop, but they think they may have been a bit short on that one. So we'll see what happens, whether that's going to have to come back in again and serve a penalty. Back to you guys in the box.
Thank you very much indeed. So there's our race leader, number 4, Joel Oswick. 22.9 seconds to the good at the moment.
Jonathan Packer back in the lead of Class B, officially in what is now 5th position overall, and he leads by a lap, I think, to Tidmarsh Webster Ginetta G40.
For third and fourth, the gap is going out rather than coming down.
Yes.
It's gone out to 2.3 seconds now because Ben Williams, Alec Iango have pulled clear of Andy Schultz.
And this battle here is for overall position, with Alan James in the 78 Audi RS3 closing in on Jonathan Packer's Class B leading Capture Motorsport VW Golf for 5th position.
2.3 seconds faster on the previous lap was Alan James. And of course it is a Class A car versus Class B car. They said a top 5 finish would be very good for Stopford and James, and that's very much on the cards now here, because this is the battle for 5th position as they turn their way out of Talcahuano. They're not too far ahead of Joel Oswick, are they, either, who's sort of several laps ahead of them. They're turning their way through the Jim Clark S's now up towards Sunny, and through on the inside at Barcroft goes the 78 car to take 5th place away. That's Alan James up to 5th position then on the road, but Jonathan Packer still very comfortably leading in Class B.
And race leader Joel Oswick about to put another lap on them as well. So I'm sure Alan James is happy to have got that move done before Joel came and interfered with the battle. Coming up to the final 10 minutes of this 2.5-hour endurance race, the opening round of the 2024 Tequila Club Enduro Championship, and it has been great little race, I've found, and plenty of drama, lots of stuff we didn't expect with the Darkside developments, car falling by the wayside as Joel Oswick puts another lap here on Alan James. We've seen some great racing, not only in the classes, but also between the classes as well.
Absolutely right. Kevin Clark is only now coming through. It feels like that gap is continuing to go out between the first two. 24.8 seconds it is now, so another sort of second lost by Kevin Clark there. But I think he realises that P2 is as bad as good as he can do now, unless there's a problem for the car in front. And he's certainly got no particular threat behind him, because Ben Williams and Alok Iyengar 3 laps adrift of the 2 leaders here.
Just an update. The number 90 car that we've seen come into the pits 4 times is still running, but in 22nd and 10th in class as well. That's the Daniel Irving, Alan Henderson Mazda MX-5 with the IMSA-inspired livery on it. So at least they are still running out there. Oh no, actually they are in the pits, aren't they?
What I was just going to point out as well is the 119 car, Bobby Trundley and Sandro Ballesteros. I don't think we've picked up on the fact they've looked like they've retired a little while ago as well, because they are in the pits and 23 laps down on the leader. So the Team Brick car, which is entered in Class B for the Audi, is out of the race, unfortunately.
Oh, you're right. I was looking at the timing screen. Normally it puts a different symbol next to the number than the one it's got showing next to it, which would have implied it was still running, but no, it isn't. It has retired from the race. We've still got 18 runners left in this race by my count.
Yeah, it's a bit more attrition than we normally get in the Tequila Club Enduro Championship. Maybe it's been a long weekend. Some cars will have been here testing. Some did road sports yesterday as well. First event of the season, maybe a few cobwebs to be sorted out before the end of the year.
This is a battle for position as well for the last spot on the podium, isn't it? Because the 69 car, the BMW M2 Racing, just gone past the 82 Seat TCR.
Well, that's because on the previous lap, Schultz did the personal best lap for that car, 1:29.944. So although that gap had been going out, we thought, oh, it's not going to be a battle there after all. Well, Schultz has sort of fought back there and got in front of the Ben Williams, Alok Iyengar, the Cupra.
Oh, fantastic stuff. So that's change for third position overall, and in Class A, this is the number 10, which that M2 looking a little bit more beat up than it was at the start of the race, even if it was carrying some scuff marks from Donington on it.
The Lloyd Huggins car has just pulled into the pits. That's the Lotus from 11th position. It was actually second in the Clubman's Cup as well, behind the Ashmore Sam Dennis car. So it was looking for some Clubman's Cup points, and still might be, of course, because of the way the results are determined at the end of an endurance race.
And just on that change for third position, that is a new car for Hampson and Schultz for this year, isn't it? Having raced the M3 previously, BMW M2 new to ASR Motorsport, so good debut there for the car.
Yeah, it's the bright orange M3 that was quite distinctive that they had previously. Andy's team running that car, and a very experienced driver.
Joel Oswick here about to put another lap on Andy Schultz up to third position, which would put them 3 laps down on the race lead. It's astonishing. Kevin Clark's the only one left on the lead lap. Yeah,
it's been quite a performance from these two. I mean, look at their lap times. They're more consistently below 1:30s, and nobody else is really in this race. I mean, those have been on occasion, but not consistently so, and not that have been reliable. So Oswick and Collins, of course, Chevnicott and Clark, really in a strong performance. Flashing the lights, Joel Oswick, as he goes past the line, almost like it was celebrating victory there on the last lap, but there's still 6 minutes to go. Is he just giving a general warning to slower cars to get out of his way, maybe, including that Huggins low Lotus that's just gone back out of the pit lane.
The speed of the Class C leader is pretty astonishing because its best lap of the race is a 32.909. And before today, the Class C lap record in Club Enduro was 135.88, set 2 years ago by Dan Arsano. So that Motion Motorsport Type R Civic of Ashmore and Sam Dennis is pretty spectacular.
Yeah, now I don't think we've had a Class B lap record though.
No,
have we?
I can't see one.
No.
The fastest in that class, I do still believe, is Jonathan Packer,
Yeah.
and he's 30.8, whereas it's 30.49 for Scott Parkin.
Yeah, a few tenths
last
away.
year. So a little bit more work to do with that, and I doubt we're going to get a lap record in the closing 5 minutes of this race.
There's not a lot of green on our timing screen now, it has to be said.
No.
I mean, even with lighter fuel loads, as you can see in the race, that's pretty compensated by tyres that are a little bit worn out now.
Second hand,
Yes.
put it that way. Of course, we have had a smattering of rain, the lightest little dusting of sprinkles.
I think
over the
it was,
circuit.
but I don't think it even qualified as the psychological rain that you occasionally hear about. It really was only a few spots.
George Russell might have thought otherwise.
So 89 laps have been completed. We're going to get more than 9 laps in this race. Touch wood, we've only had one safety car period as well, which is, for such a long race, is relatively unusual.
And for the amount of mechanical issues we've had as well, they've all either been able to get them back, apart from Scott Parkin, who needed outside assistance, and that's the cause of the only safety car we've had so far in this race. They've also managed to do so without dumping fluids all over the racetrack as well, which is very considerate of them. This is the 195, our Class C race leader that has just absolutely smashed the class lap record that we were just talking about, and is running in the top 10 overall. And its closest rival is actually the next car in the timing order, which is the number 97 David Connell and Alex Wilkinson Hughes Mazda MX-5, which is the Scuderia Dave car that was competing in the Track Day Championship last year. But still a great performance here from Motion Motorsport, who have had quick cars in both Class A and Class B today, but making up for a little bit of the disappointment of the rather spectacular retirement of the Class B car earlier in the race.
It was, spectacular the word, wasn't it? 3 laps to go, I reckon, for Joel Oswick, because there was just over 3 minutes to go, and a lap is about 1.5 minutes here, so that'll make it 3 laps to go rather than 2 for him. If he wanted to, he could probably slow down and make it just 2 laps and still finish ahead of Kevin Clark, but I suspect he'll just keep pushing on.
He doesn't want to do a Jordan Pepper, though, and sort of slightly misjudge it by a photo finish's length, does he?
No.
Anybody who saw the NLS race a couple of weeks ago will know what
I remember
we're talking about there.
seeing that. But Oswick there, continuing to push on, the 21-year-old from Cheshunt, mechanic occupation, but clearly no mean driver as well. I think he would have ambitions, if he could, to try and progress with driving in GT or sports car racing.
Yeah, going for his ARDS license, but still an apprentice mechanic. Actually, with German Auto Works, is the company he works for, is why he was racing for them. Of course, when they were still running in the championship. But Joel moving across to JC Racing, and it's been a pretty great day for him. And we've always known that this is the kind of potential that Joel has. His talent and ability has been very obvious since he won the championship in 2022 in Class C. And now getting the opportunity to prove that overall.
That's right, he was 10th in the championship last year, showing with Jay Delgado, I should say, last year. He had 3 third-place finishes and a 5th place last year, but occasionally did show the kind of pace that could mark him out as a race winner. But switching to this M3, the JC Racing M3 for this season, well, it's really been a step up. You could argue maybe if Scott Parkin hadn't had his gearbox issues, it might have been a different story, but well, you can only beat what's put in front of you, can't you? And reliability a key part of endurance racing as well. There's the car that's in fifth place now, which is the Williams and Iyengar car. And there's our second place man, Kevin Clark, and our Class B leader, 51, Jonathan Packer as well. In sixth position overall.
Just wondering if we're going to squeeze in another lap. 40 seconds left on the clock, and Joel Oswick's coming into the complex.
Yeah,
it's going to be nip and tuck.
Yeah, I think we should do, if we do go the full 150 minutes.
Yeah, we will, won't we? He's already at the hairpin, so last lap board will go out now, won't it?
Yeah, it should do. Just keeping an eye on the finish line from where I'm looking at the complex. Yeah, last lap board's just been shown to him. So with 16 seconds remaining, it's Joel Oswick heading down towards Clervaux Corner for the final time. Just taking it relatively steady now. He won't be pushing the apeces too hard. Through Hawthorne now, then the right left at the chicane. He's actually got a fairly clear run. He's just got the Connell and Wilkinson Hughes second placed in Class C MX-5 to get by, which he'll do now, but that's probably the last car that he will need to pass during the course of this race, because there's nobody else in sight really.
They could just enjoy driving the car for one last tour of the Croft circuit. I remember last year was showing a fair turn of speed in the BMW was racing last year for German Auto Works. It was fantastically fast in a straight line. A little desired, to be desired still in the corners, but this car has definitely bridged that gap. And it's a very formidable pairing and car driver combination for the rest of this year.
Certainly is. So he's into the complex for the final times. James Collins has been sharing this car, but Joel Oswick has been rapid in it. He's got a 1:26.732, fastest lap of the race, and a lap record as well. And that's an extra point as he takes the checkered flag to win round one of the Tagiwa Club Enduro Championship here at Croft Circuit, the longest race of the season. It's claimed a few victims one way or another, but Joel Oswick it is that wins with James Collins. Across the line for third has gone Andy Schultz and Matthew Hampson. For fourth, Matthew Stockford and Alan James. And our second place finisher takes the checkered flag now as well. That is Kevin Clark in the number 33 car, 24 seconds behind, so roughly the gap as it was after those second round of pit stops. He didn't really lose too much more time. He was still pushing on all the way to the end. Williams and Iyengar have crossed the line in fifth. Jonathan Packer has crossed the line sixth overall and winning Class B. And Ashmore and Samuel Dennis have crossed the line to win Class C as well, Chris.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. So yeah, Kevin Clark, second overall from the pit lane, absolutely sensational. Third in Class A is the number 69, Matthew Hampson and Andy Schultz, BMW M2 from ASR Motorsport, and Jonathan Packer, the Class B win from the Area Motorsport team. Second in class, it did still go the way of Tim Marsh and Webster in their Ginetta G40 from Flying Tangerine Racing.
And I think we can probably have a look at the results now at the end of that Tagiwa Club Enduro Championship race. So it was a victory for number 4, Joel Oswick and James Collins in the BMW 3. 93 laps completed in 2.5 hours. Second, number 33, was Kevin Clark, 24.355 seconds behind in the BMW M3 CSL. Third to number 69, Andy Schultz and Matthew Hampson in the BMW M2. They were 3 laps adrift. Fourth, 78, Matthew Stockford, Alan James. Fifth, number 82, Ben Williams, Alec Iyengar. Sixth, number 51, Jonathan Packer, the winner of Class C in the Volkswagen Golf GTI. 3 laps adrift of the winner. Seventh, number 82, Matthew Tishmarsh and Chris Webster in the Ginetta G40. They were a lap behind Packer. 8.55, Paul Simerson and Richard Stanton on his race debut in the BMW M4 GT4. So that's a good result from them. I'm sure they'll be pleased with that. Ninth, number 43, Steve Cheetham and Wayne Scarefield in the Porsche Boxer. 5 laps behind the leaders. And then 10th overall in Class C, the Class C winners and the Clubman Cup winners as well, Ashmore and Samuel Dennis. 6 laps behind the winners in their Honda Civic Type R. 11th, number 97, Connell Wilkinson Hughes Mazda. 12th, number 10, Fenwick Shepherd BMW. 13th, number 30, the Huggins Lotus Exige. 14th and 3rd in Class C, the number 66 Hayes and Subiani 318 Ti. And then in terms of drivers that finished, there weren't many more. 169 Simonite Mansell in the Mazda MX-5. 16th and 171 Osman House and Osman E30 M3. Then it was Denny Sadler and Ray in 328i in 17th. And the Gibson Rig Dundee Ginetta G40, I think, was probably the last of the cars to finish the race. I know we did get the Mares and K car back out again after their exhaust was sorted. So Chris, that brings to an end the weekend's racing, and it's been one that we've really enjoyed, hasn't it?
Certainly have. We've seen some absolutely fantastic racing across the 8 Formula for this weekend, and definitely it's been a very lucrative start to the 750 Motor Club season. These first 2